financing, or up to $13,000 off select GMC and Chevrolet inventory. You heard that right, 0% or $13,000 off select inventory. We'd love to see you at the store or check us out online at couplecars.com. Folks, this is really confident buying and confident driving. Stock number C127238 and G1739777 with approved credit.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers. One love.
At Schwezo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwezo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwezo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
MMA is back this Saturday with VFL 6 spring session at the complex. Lincoln's best amateur and professional MMA fighters will display their best performances, headlined by a welterweight bout between Trayson Havel and Ezra Dozier. Get your tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com, where you can also get pay-per-view streaming. Enjoy the atmosphere and festivities, which are second to none. Doors open at 6 p.m. and first bout is at 7 p.m. this Saturday, April 4th for VFL 6 at the complex at 1555 Yolanda Avenue.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
Coming at you live from the heart of Lincoln, America. This is Old School. Sponsored. Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black Shirts answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Hour one of Old School is sponsored by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Yes, it is. Welcome in to Old School. Austin Orman and Jay Foreman with you indeed for the next 3 hours here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. We'd love it if you'd be a part of the show. 402-464-5685. I'm happy to see Jay Foreman back, and so is our guy Eric, my man Jay Foreman, back at the wheel. Welcome back, Jay.
I missed you too, Eric. A day would not be. He brings sunshine on a day like today.
Does he ever?
Yeah, he's just a light in everybody's eye.
Sunshine and sarcasm.
Yep.
That's why we appreciate Eric. We appreciate everyone who listens to the show, everyone who joins the show. You know, we really do appreciate it. Would not be here without you. Eric's saying that you're capping. You're lying.
It wouldn't be a complete day without seeing Eric's name first. Always first.
Always.
Welcoming us at about 3:04 p.m.
Feels like the show doesn't get started till we get a text.
Exactly. Because the one day he was not around, I think he was sick or something like that. We didn't know what was going on.
But hey, if you're sick, you can still fire us up on your phone and listen in bed.
Yeah. I'm
not under the weather?
Giving him the benefit of the doubt.
Well, that's very kind of you to do. Someone has to. So, yeah. All right, away we go into the show again, 402-464-5685. No, Eric, do not fall for that. Jay, Nebraska men's basketball nearly lost an assistant coach. Of course, last offseason, they lost assistant coach Adam Howard to North Carolina State and Will Wade. That was short-lived. We didn't get a chance to mention it on the show. But congrats to Adam Howard, surviving the Will Wade wreckage and landing the head coaching job at Troy, of all places, with everything that went down there with Will Wade leaving North Carolina State. But Nate Loenser recently had interviewed for the Northern Iowa coaching position. He did not get the job. They did not go with him. The other interviewers were Seth Tuttle, former standout player at Northern Iowa, and a longtime assistant at Northern Iowa, Kyle Green, AJ Green.
Yeah.
His dad, NBA player, had been with Northern Iowa for about 16 years in a few different stints and had spent the last 5 years at Iowa State with TJ Otzelberger. It is Kyle Green that ends up getting the job. And, I think part of the deal when you're a successful program is that you lose your assistant coaches. Other places want to poach them for head coaching jobs. Adam Howard obviously just took another assistant role with North Carolina State last year. But I think coming off of, now 3 really good seasons, and especially coming off of the most successful season in Nebraska program history, even if you expect some turnover and you expect your coaches to get some looks, I think the continuity will be good for this team, retaining a key piece of that staff in Nate Loenser.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's you never want to lose a coach like Coach Nate, but I think it's a good thing. You're not if you're not winning, or if you're not doing things the right way, if you're not making a big impact in your conference, obviously obviously on your team, and have the respect, inside the, like, let's say the walls of the Big Ten, but then obviously nationally, you don't get these opportunities, and so it's a good thing, because that means you are doing. Your program is doing some good things, and obviously it was a great year. It was a historical year for Nebraska. Since Coach Nate's been here, it's been obviously a difference. You can see it, so the impact is there. He's done well in developing the guys in his area of expertise, but then also being a good obviously he's an assistant coach, but I think being a different personality than Fred, and obviously he's learned a lot from Fred. He's been with him. They've been through some wars, so he's picked up things that he probably doesn't get credit for, throughout the years of working with him at Iowa State and the Bulls, and obviously here as well. And so, Fred would have probably hated to lose him, but he would have probably known that he was, well on his way, and probably maybe surprised that, it hasn't happened as of yet. It's probably going to be on the docket again next year. It's a place that he is obviously connected to, so that it's natural connection. But great thing for Nebraska that it just didn't work out. Now you hate it for Coach Nate, because not every assistant coach, but majority of the ones want to be a head coach. You've been around Fred; he's been a head coach pretty much his whole life. Is this part of his career? And so, look, he's learned a lot, and he probably is ready for it. And these jobs are not as great as year that they had this year. Towards the end of last year, they turned it on. Then obviously the year before, so he's been through success here, knows he's ready, and you just got to be a little bit more patient. So it's a great thing for Nebraska. You hate it for him, because it's probably an opportunity he might have taken. Who knows if he would? I mean, I'm assuming he might have taken it, but he can.
Well, he's a Cedar Falls guy, so a chance to go back home is always hard to pass up.
Right, and it just didn't work. It just doesn't work out. But you know what? It'll work out the right time, and it might be a better situation. So right now, he's in a great situation at Nebraska. I'd probably bypass I'd obviously have a glass of wine with Fred, or a bottle of wine with Fred. Then I'll be walking right up there and say, hey, brother, need a little bit of pay bump. So look, I'm happy for everybody. And Coach Nate's in a good place, and obviously so is the program.
Yeah, Nebraska's in a good spot. Northern Iowa couldn't really go wrong. Again, longtime assistant there, Kyle Green, who was at Northern Iowa for 16 years, gets the job after spending the last 5 in Ames at Iowa State. The rationale for him is he's been around, he knows the place, his kid played here, so that makes a lot of sense. Seth Tuttle currently on staff as an assistant after playing his career at Northern Iowa, and then of course Nate Loenser, having been from Cedar Falls and helping out with some really successful teams for Fred Hoiberg at Iowa State and then in Chicago. Obviously, Loenser did not come over to Nebraska right away with Fred Hoiberg. He did stick around on the Bulls' kind of developmental side with Jim Boylan for a year before he ended up joining Nebraska. And that's just the thing, Jay, is that sometimes these staffs can get a little static, but at the same time, continuity can be a help. And I think the contrast in personalities, at least outward approach, right? Because you see Nate Loenser as the one that's always clapping, always yelling, always getting fired up. Fred Hoiberg maybe a little bit laid back. But that doesn't mean they both don't work hard. They both don't push their players when they're in the gym together. I think those two make a good pair and have worked together so well, because under the surface, the stuff that anyone can see on the sidelines, I think those two guys are wired the exact same way.
Yeah, and part of a really good staff, I always talk about Coach Osborne, and where he how he built his team and his organization, the personalities and who they were, he was hiring good people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's what Fred, has done. And obviously he, it's not as many coaches as obviously a football team, but you're able to not only hire good people, but you look at the personalities and how they're able to, work with each other. There will be some friction, but the friction has to stop because the betterment of the team is the most important thing. And then also how they interact with the players. And obviously Coach Nate, he's intense, he's fiery. Fred is obviously cool, calm, and collective, but has a little bit of that in him. So you have, it's just like, Coach Osborne, Coach McBride. You got, sometimes opposites it's a track, but they both get each other.
Yeah.
And they both have a ton of respect for each other, and that's why they have such a good working relationship. And so, and they've went through the trials and tribulations, and so, let's keep on to the next. And I think at this point, obviously, if Coach Nate's not able to get a head coaching job, in this cycle this year, and most likely, I'm assuming, there's not many openings left, but or that would be, worth his, time. That when you go into this transition of this new era of Nebraska basketball, I'm sure Fred would probably, would rather go through it with somebody that he knows and trusts and knows exactly that, how they want to do this, because it's a pivotal time, and it's a good pivotal time, but it's pivotal because this is new era for everybody. You're in a whole new world right now. And so that, how they go through it and make sure that they keep everything on the up and up. And as far as, let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. Look, just a year ago, people were picking us 14th. We had to grind to get here. Let's not get brand new. Let's keep to our process. We're going maybe a level up as far as the kids that we're recruiting, but let's not lose our basis. And then let's keep on keeping on.
Yeah, you've mentioned that pivotal offseason for the program. I think keeping Nate Loenser a big part of that. If he were to have left, or if he does indeed end up getting a head coaching job down the road, I think the Fred Hoiberg has earned some benefit of the doubt with the hires, right? Think about how far his first staff has come, right? I mean, to land Ernie Ziegler, for him to be around in Lincoln as long as he's been, kind of that pillar, to bring Adam Howard in for a couple years from South Alabama, to lose him, and then to pivot to Pat Monahan, who I thought paid some pretty darn good dividends for Nebraska this year in recruiting in a lot of ways, also some on the court stuff as well. But Jay, I think there's another reason that maybe the pressure to sustain, and pressure might not be the right word, but certainly the emphasis, of continuing to build and grow the program, you can continue that positive momentum because you don't have to worry about breaking in a new voice, right?
Yeah.
You have kind of the heart and soul, the heartbeat of that developmental side of things there with Nate Loenser, that has good relationships with the players, that trust him, that gets the most out of them. Not saying that the expectations should have taken a step back had Nebraska, lost Nate Loenser to the Northern Iowa job, but we talk about it all the time in football. You have a successful year, you lose your coordinator.
Yeah.
It feels like you're starting from scratch. It's never a great feeling. You don't like to have to do that.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great point because, selfishly, sure. Realistically, you need it when you're going to new heights, man.
Mm-hmm.
And it's no different than when you win a national championship or you win a Super Bowl or NBA, championship. You see it in hockey as well. Like your assistant coaches get plucked. I mean, look, UConn just lost their assistant coach to Boston College, and so it is different. And they're still in the hunt, they're for a national championship.
Mm-hmm.
And so continuity is key. But also, when you start to win, you level up and guys start to, move on. And when we've seen it here, even at Nebraska football, even though it hasn't been to the magnitude, when you have a defensive coordinator that came in and kind of changed things and it looks so much tangibly different, you pass the eye test, the reality test. Tony White's up for some jobs in the first offseason.
Yeah.
Then he goes to Florida State for a little bit more, a little bit level up, I'm assuming, with like pay and stuff. That just happens. And but where Nebraska basketball is right now, where they've brought themselves, considering where they started first when Fred got here, where they kind of got there, a couple years ago, and then where they're at right now, you like to have all hands on deck because it's a new era of, notoriety, expectations and standards. Probably the standard ain't going to change with Fred. I mean, he knows what he wants, but the expectations around the program has grown tenfold, and nobody knows how to react because it's never happened.
And when you're in those unsure times, you've never been there before, you want someone you can trust by your side.
Right,
Which is where that relationship, I think, between Hoiberg and Loenser can be really good for the future of the program.
Right, yeah, and it's I don't envision Fred getting a big head or anything like that. He's very like, humble or whatever. And same with Coach Nate and Ernie and all those guys. But it's gonna be, like you could have like these weird expectations, and so you're gonna get everybody's best shot next year, right? And everybody's studying what you did last year, and you're gonna lose some pivotal players. Obviously Sam is a huge pivot. He's a huge pivotal player in your program, in the history of the program, but obviously in your success last year. Then obviously Rink as well. So everybody's gonna be game planning for this year's team, right? So when they're watching tape this offseason, they're looking at the best version of yourself. Well, they got to bring in I'm assuming 4 or 5 players. And it's actually more than that. I talked about Braden Frager being in this year's recruiting class because he was redshirt. Well, now you're getting another Braden and Frager around there. I'm assuming he's staying is because I'm just going to assume he's going to be starting. So that's a totally different mindset for him. Yeah. It's a totally different team that Fred's going to coach. Coaching him as being a 6-man and kind of waiting and seeing and kind of like looking, and I wouldn't say the guys are worn out, but you're coming in like, a little bit under the radar. It's different when you're I experienced that when you go from a guy that kind of started a few games at the end of the season. Now they know your weaknesses. There's a transition there, and you're going to have to break in, 2 new guards, along with a kind of
at least one more big man.
Yeah. I was going to say a pop 5 or whatever you want to call him. And then, you're going to have to, make sure that you have, if Price comes back, that you make sure you got him in a position where he can be successful, because he might have to carry a little bit more of the water up the hill, as it starts out. And so it's a totally new team. That's why you need your guys together that understand, and you are making progress. And I guess you call it the noise. Sometimes the expectations can be so out of control because everybody has revisionist history. Everybody's looking to have let's just say a point guard play exactly like Sam. Well, Sam is Sam. Rink is Rink. You know what I mean? And Jamarcus is Jamarcus.
Yeah.
But,
because you're not going to find a 6'5" point guard that plays like Sam Hoiberg.
Right. And so you have to be realistic, but the majority of the fans don't understand that. They just say, okay, well, you're the ball handler, so you're a point guard, so you got to play like that.
Not how it works.
It's not how it works.
No.
And so this transition is huge. It's a great transition to have. It's a phenomenal transition to have. It's great problems to have. I mean, losing sleep on how to operate in this era right now with things changing. Probably get some more financial support. So then the doors that you're knocking on or calling or the text that you're sending.
Different neighborhoods now.
Well, you're not getting left on read. You're getting a timely response, right? And you're going to get people that that come in and potentially obviously be on your team that might not have been on your radar before.
Yeah, well, it's not like Fred Hoiberg hasn't been through this before, right? I mean, think about where they were when he first got to Ames. His first year there, they end up going 16-16 overall, 3-13, and then they win 20 games, 20 games, 20 games, 20 games. In his next 4 years, of course, it was 23, 23, 28. And 25. So, Jay, let's just say that this year for Nebraska was the equivalent of the 2013-14 season, which happened to be the first year, I believe, that Nate Loenser was on staff with Fred Hoiberg there in Ames. They go 28-8. Nebraska, very similar record this year. The next year, Iowa State ends up going 25-9. So, yeah, 3 fewer wins and 1 more loss. End up with 1 less game in the NCAA tournament. That 13-14 team lost in the Sweet 16. The 14-15 version lost in the second round of the NCAA tournament. And I'll ask you, and obviously this goes to our Starter Heyman Jewelers text line as well, what does a successful follow-up look like? What does Nebraska need to do? And I know it's hard to say without the roster being set right now, but, I mean, they've made back-to-back-to-back postseasons now, 2 NCAA tournaments in 3 years. It's hard for me to say it's a failure if Nebraska doesn't make the Sweet 16 next year, but now that it's at least in reach, I think that, we're getting close to the point where we can say Nebraska needs to be in the NCAA tournament, pretty much every year now. I think the program's on solid enough footing.
Definitely got to be in the tournament, or close to it every single year. And a lot of it could be have a really, look at the women's basketball team on a regular year in the Big Ten. They're probably 4 or 5 more wins in the regular season. It's a tough year sometimes. So, I think realistically, making the NCAA tournament, is obviously something that you want on the table. And so that's where the pressure comes from. And so it's good pressure to have. But they got enough parts coming back because everybody's going to be dealing with transition.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be like majority of the conference or, everybody across the nation is going to bring back 5 starters and you're only bringing back, let's say, like 2 or 3. So you got to build your roster again. And, look, I don't want to look at the win totals and stuff because you could have a really good season and
win fewer games.
And win fewer games. And so really you want to be in that hunt and, be in the NCAA tournament. That's where you know how to get there. You know what it takes. But now I think you're able to do some things a little bit, at a magnitude that you hadn't been able to do so. And you got everything that you got the fan support. People have been, support, as you've seen the turn when I think they changed their, I guess, process of building a team. It's been there. And you got a coach that's going to, wants to be here for a long time and along with assistants. So I think it's definitely something you need to, have in the, in the forefront of making the NCAA tournament.
Got this question from Scott in Lincoln. He asks, so my question is, the year after Iowa State 128 games with Fred Hoiberg, did they pick up any good recruits? What did that team look like since they had a high of 28 wins? What did the roster look like the next year? So here is the similarities. They had George Niang return for his junior year. You had Monte Morris to the mix from his freshman year to his sophomore year. They both return. Nazmitru Long as well. And then from there, they lost DeAndre Kane. They lost Melvin Edgem to graduation. But they ended up bringing in Bryce DeJean Jones, was a guy that was recruited pretty highly. Dustin Hogue was a carryover from that roster as well. Jameel McKay, Abdul Nader came in, I believe, as a transfer. At that point, they kept Matt Thomas from his freshman year to his sophomore year. They added Clayton Custer to the roster as a freshman. And if you remember that name, it's probably not from his time at Iowa State, most likely from his time at Loyola Chicago. And he was a piece of that team that made the long run back to the Final Four or Elite Eight, whatever. Yeah, Final Four for Loyola Chicago that year. So, yeah, they added some high-level players, a guy like Abdul Nader that came in. Jameel McKay came in, played a pretty darn good role for them, and then Bryce DeJean Jones as well. But, Jay, the core of that team was back. George Niang went from the 3rd leading scorer to the top leading scorer. Monte Morris went from kind of a role player as a freshman to the 2nd leading scorer on that team. Nazmitru Long continued his climb as a college player as well. And I think that's a great way to lead us into our next segment here. Roster retention. Because the Big Ten within the last couple weeks has proposed to essentially bring bird rights to college athletics, the ability to go above and beyond the revenue sharing cap to keep rosters together. Can't go above it to sign new players, but if you have a player on your team already, you could go above and beyond the salary cap, quote unquote, to keep them on the roster. Let's talk about that next. What would that look like for Nebraska? What would that mean for college sports? He's Jay Foreman. I'm Austin Orman. This is Old School.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to power your progress, so you can give everything you've got, all for just 1 cent down. Whether you want to get the most out of our best-in-class equipment or go all in with free fitness training, our trainers are ready to help you get stronger than ever before. Take your workout to the next level at Planet Fitness. Join the club today for 1 cent down, $15 a month. No commitment. Deal ends Friday, April 10th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Hey there, this is Paul Scheel, owner of High Electric. I want to thank our friends and loyal customers and introduce High Electric to those looking for a new electrician. We've been serving the Lincoln and Omaha area for over 30 years, from design to install, upgrades, and repair. If you are a homeowner or a small business needing some electrical work, call us at 402-466-6606 or check us out at hyelectric.com. We look forward to hearing from you.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811, online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs, from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
Imagine if the people who work at your bank or neighbors who could help with a home loan.
Congratulations, you're approved.
Or friends who love to shop local.
Have a good one.
At UBT, who you work with matters just as much as what you're working toward.
Hey, thanks for helping.
That's why your money has more than a banker. It has people. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills Global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School. I'm Austin. He is Jay. Hour one of the show brought to you by Heartland of Nebraska Windows. See the information scrolling right down below us. You can call them for more information, 402-430-3852. You can also visit them online at heartlandofnebraskawindows.com. Jay, Big Ten has been proposing a rule change to the revenue sharing cap that the Big Ten would say would function essentially like bird rights in the NBA. And just a quick kind of explainer for that. Well, essentially what bird rights are in the NBA is after 3 seasons or more, a team has a player's full bird rights. This is from sportsbusinessclassroom.com, which enables a max contract for 4 to 5 years with 8% raises. And that changes based on how many years of service time you have. But I think in college sports, saying that you'd have to be on a roster for 3 years is probably a bit of a stretch. It's a little bit different in the NBA. But what the Big Ten is going for essentially is from this sportsbusinessjournal.com article They think that this would help curb transfers, help keep some rosters together. And most likely this would turn into maybe just like a little flat rate or a certain number of dollars above the salary cap that you can go above and beyond the rev sharing number, but only for players that were on your roster last year. I love the idea in theory. I think we've talked about something similar right here. Now, the problem is, how long does it take to get put in place? What is that number? Would you rather see a percentage or a flat dollar figure? But, I think it would be a step in the right direction for fans, obviously, who want to get to know these players and see development, for coaches take one, more little piece off their plate. And I think for players too, and we can get into some examples down the line, but I like that the Big Ten is proposing this, even if it's nowhere near passing. I think it'd be a great step in the right direction.
Yeah, I think, we had talked about, if you're going to pluck guys out of, lesser conference, FCS and stuff like that, some sort of fee.
Mm-hmm.
I think the contract structure now is you can sign multi-years, and if a guy, leaves and breaks the contract, then he has to pay back some of the money. Even the high school kids, if you're able to get paid as a senior, which they passed last year, after your senior year, or actually you can start getting, August 1st, you start getting contracts, getting paid. You choose to go to another school, you got to pay that back. That's to eliminate getting, the heist of member Proctor going to Iowa, getting $150,000. You know what? It was nice hanging out with my parents for a little while, but I'll head back down to Bama.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing you could do, right? And we've heard cases like that. Now it goes both ways. You've heard of cases where coaches are offered money, not lived up to it in Florida and so forth. But I do like that retaining players. There's an incentive. I think you could retain guys and maybe you might get a little bit less than market value per se, but you're getting that staying percentage,
Mm-hmm.
retention bonus or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
And, also to make it even more to get into that third year that normally won't happen. Even if you come in red shirt and you play good that first freshman year, you're looking around already. If you can get them for that third year in your program
Mm-hmm.
and things go well, chances are you're going to get them for at least a fourth year. I like it because once you get past year 3, I guess I'm in my mind either 2 or 3, then your exit fee per se would go way down. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like a buyout or whatever it is, when coaches.
Oh, yeah.
We get. So I like that, and I like the bird rights. But then also I like it to have a certain percent of. I think it needs to be a certain percent of the rev share that you actually use, because there's teams that there's the 22.5. Say it's at 25 when it does get passed. Well, say if they're only, they're only using 15 of it or whatever, they're not using the full amount that they possibly could get, then I like it. And it also depends on where you're at as a, well, you know what? I'm going to take that back. It should just be a certain percent of your rev share.
Okay.
So say like 20, say it's 10% of 20 million.
Okay. So $2 million.
Yeah. That's what you can go above and beyond.
Mm.
I don't know
and that would be for the entire athletic department, not just each program, right?
Well,
or let's say just
football.
basketball.
Say football. So whatever it is. So whatever that is.
Say football has 15 mil, so you can go 1.5 above,
right.
whatever.
Okay, that's without a penalty. You go above that 1.5. Say you have
then it's a luxury tax.
Right. So say you have a bunch of freshmen or sophomores and they just start balling.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to keep them.
Yeah.
They're program changers.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Then you got to pay it. You got to pay a little bit because it becomes null and void once you make that college football playoff or you go to a huge bowl game.
Right, you're covered.
Then you're covered. And
Mm-hmm.
so that's where the incentive is to keep it going. And there's ways that you can kind of fudge the numbers as well.
See, that's just the thing. This seems like a fun, unique, creative, interesting way to fudge some of those numbers because the salary cap is never the salary cap, whether it's the NBA, especially the NFL
now. It's changed drastically. Yeah.
But I would be curious too, because let's say in that example, you have a bunch of football players that are freshmen or sophomores that you want to pay to keep around. And sure, it might pay for itself, but maybe you're in a spot like Nebraska where it's your first good class for a while. It's coming together,
yeah.
But you can't bank on the college football playoff like you would if you were in Oregon and Ohio State,
Sure.
Maybe in Alabama, Georgia, whatever, where you're there every year. For Nebraska, you haven't been there before. You don't have that benefit of the doubt. You're not just going to get put in because of your name brand. Well, let's say that, football's budget wasn't that 15 million or 17 million, but you need to pay another, say, 2.5 million on top of that, where that 2.5 exceeds that 10% mark. Would athletic departments then shuffle some money around from other programs, take those rev share dollars and say, hey, we need it for football right now. We'll see if we can get you back on the back end. But would they essentially take out a loan against their other programs because they feel the need to keep this class together?
Yeah, because I think the wins, if you're, and you could see it, you could see it in other sports too, right? Say like it's baseball season. Say they, somehow they recruit a young Jay Foreman that, decides he can hit a curveball, and he comes down there and say he hits 13 ding dongs, right? But you only have a certain amount of rev share. You can borrow from the volleyball team with the understanding that you'll win more games and you'll have more people there, then you'll be able to pay it back next year. But also, I think it's going to also put pressure on to find, let's say, aftermarket deals for him as well. Yeah. Really put together a true NIL package. So really going to be bringing in all your resources to retain players. And so ultimately, it's got to be a want for the player to stay here. I think the incentive, it's kind of like the Patriots. Remember the Patriots, they would sign everybody. Tom Brady was obviously well compensated. Was he ever the highest paid quarterback? No. But he played there forever. He won a lot. Now, granted, you're not going to be able to do that in college, but for a quarterback, let's say the quarterback position, and say you have a good running back and receivers and tight end, all you guys together, and you guys are able to pretty much make more money, get obviously a raise, and then obviously increase your profile off of it, which makes up for it, the commercials and all that stuff. That's where the incentive goes for it. And then also it's incentive for, in my opinion, to really have as they're recruiting kids, both say it's like that Hawthorne kid they recruited from Iowa State, redshirted, they still, he has 4 years of eligibility left. So as I'm recruiting you, my like package, I guess, your payment or whatever, is based on actually a true 2 to 3 year plan for you because this is in effect.
Yeah.
So now you have all the clarity now versus, all right, I got a little bit of NIL. I signed early in the portal, or I committed early in the portal cycle. And then here comes 2 or 3 other guys. Now you're sitting there like, okay, where do I stand?
Yeah.
Because now we're at the 23rd hour. I can't go anywhere. I'm locked in. And I don't know where it's at. Whereas like you can feel real comfortable. You can really, expand your role or really exceed, have success in your role. And then everybody else kind of knows where they're at. And you're also on a true developmental plan.
Yeah.
So but then also on the flip side, I think it's going to incentivize or make an incentive for the coach or the coach. I want to add more coaches or assistant coaches or consultants. Here's why I think that's important. Because as I'm recruiting guys and trying to retain them, ultimately the position coach has to focus on the guy that's starting. But the second string or the rotational player and the third string or the freshman that's coming in, they're all on still a plan that might not be as in rapid pace. You get what I'm saying? So if you're recruiting a guy and you get him out of the portal and he has 1 year left versus a guy that's came out of high school and he's on a 3-year plan, well, that 3-year plan it has to be like the same intensity as that 1 year guy is, the same intensity as year one in Austin Orman. Because year one goes to year 2 real quick. Yeah. That guy falls off. Well, you better be making progress or development in a guy from year 1 to year 2 because you might not get to year 3. You might need him right now.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So you're going to need more hands on deck. And I think it'd be, if they implemented something like that, I think you'd see guys there and they won't be looking around, but still guys will jump ship. But also I think if you do and you have them locked into a contract, I still think if you're under contract and they get you and another team gets you, that it needs to be some sort of exit fee that the other team's willing to like buy your contract out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt.
Yeah.
Speaking of jumping ship, I'm glad you went there because this isn't necessarily a trick to get more players to stay because it's not as simple as, well, you get more money here. Other teams could still come in and go above and beyond that offer. it's more of a tool for teams to try to work the money around in their favor where they can give some more to the players. But let's not forget, Jay, if you're dipping into the rev share, allotment, the flat rate or the percentage or whatever, most likely that's probably a 5-figure raise, not a 6-figure raise. Unless let's say, I'm just going to throw some random numbers out there. This is not based on anything at all, but let's say Braden Frager was making $300,000 as a freshman, redshirt freshman this year, and he's going to make, let's say, $1 million next year, just for some offhand numbers. Well, that's not to say that Nebraska is the only school that could offer him $1 million, right? You could see some other program come in and offer him, $1.5 million to transfer out of Nebraska. There's nothing stopping that from happening.
Right.
On the accounting side, Nebraska can find that extra $700,000 wherever the heck it wants, right? As long as it fits under that flat rate or that fee. Whereas the other school would need to pay that full 1.5 out of the revenue sharing, which is why I tried to think back in relatively recent Husker history and think of some examples in basketball and football. Andrew White III, guy like that transferred in from Kansas, sat out a year at Nebraska because of his transfer, played at Nebraska, and then was able to transfer to Syracuse after that.
Yeah.
There's no saying that Andrew White III would have stuck around Nebraska if they would have, gone above and beyond the cap to sign him, because maybe Syracuse came in with an even bigger offer.
Right.
Or someone like Ed Morrow. They went from Nebraska to Marquette. That they could have been a foundational player. In football, you think about like a Wan'Dale Robinson.
Yeah.
Right? It's not like Nebraska is the only place that can offer more money. It's just about where that money is coming from. Ernest Hausman, another example, going to Michigan. Just because Nebraska can offer a raise from where they were, and just because that money won't count against the rev share cap, essentially, doesn't mean another school couldn't come in with a bigger offer and still, make a bigger, more appealing offer to get that player away anyway.
Yeah, and you can definitely do like this reminds me, and I mean, that's obviously when I was in the NFL, which is a very long time ago. But you'd be, after you play well and you get what's called a tender, so you get a 1-year deal based on where you're drafted. Then it's a certain amount. If you perform above that, that's kind of where it's at, and there's no salary cap ramifications. Then you can get up there where you see with quarterbacks where you got the transition tag and all that, right?
Yeah.
Well, the way that teams kind of worked around that, if you remember, is the Steve Hutchinson trade from Seattle to the Vikings. And then the Vikings got him back where they put that poison pill in there. So what you can do, or potentially could do, is put that huge, second year where you kind of project that Austin is going to really explode. Say you're kind of like, Jackson Smith and Jigba, right? Remember when we played them in up there? I think Frost was the coach. It was during COVID, right? And he had, maybe like 300 yards that year. Remember, but he made that phenomenal catch in the back of the end zone. Remember that? I don't know if you remember, right? Well, the projection was you could see him. Everybody knew this dude's going to be better than the dudes out there on the field.
Yeah.
Right. Well, lo and behold, the next year,
better than all those dudes out there on the field.
Right. But then that's when you drop the poison pill. Let's just say, and he would never leave Ohio State, but just say he's here, or a player like him is here. Well, then you put that jacked up for that next year at a point, and maybe the structure of it, and maybe the incentives are really low to really get a pay raise. That maybe a Lane Kiffin isn't able to call Damon Williams and trying to get him to break his deal at the 23rd hour, and then obviously lose his footing in that locker room.
Yeah.
Right. So there's ways around it to really protect your players. But if somebody comes in and goes 3X, you got to be willing to let them go do that as a coach.
Yeah.
Understand it.
Otherwise, you're going to have a bad reputation. If you're fighting tooth and nail, obviously fight for your guy. You put in the work recruiting, he's going to feel bad.
Right.
But if you're bad mouthing a player behind the scenes and doing some dirty stuff to keep him around,
slow rolling him and stuff like that. You don't want to be like, Bill Belichick's the greatest coach in
modern NFL
history. But you remember everybody was talking about we'll go to Jerry Jones because I love messing with the Cowboys. Well, when incentive time, all of a sudden you inactive. What was the quarterback that came in?
Cooper Rush.
Yeah, Cooper Rush was going to get $500,000. Jerry's like, you got enough. You already hit enough of your incentives. I'm not going to give you an extra one, and so I'm going to make you inactive. So you don't want to do those type of things. But
the Pirates are notorious for that in baseball.
Oh yeah, we talked about that. Yeah. Oh yeah, man. Also start cutting players and stuff. So I think it's if it can be done right, I think it can protect it. But on the flip side here, you always play devil's advocate. It's great for the coaches to talk about player retention. There's no accountability for the coaches to do it. We just saw it in basketball. We just talked about the first segment of basketball. How many times does it happen that a football coach is there, and then you are locked in.
Yeah.
And then say there's the whole James Franklin thing and all that, or Kyle Whittingham kind of gets pushed out.
Yeah.
Well, next thing you know, it changes everything. And so it's got to be too. Jay Billis talks about us all the time. Don't you get mad at the players, because the players are playing your game right now, that you guys are still able to do it. Actually, still at a bigger magnitude. The players are just getting compensated for it.
Well, and that's just the thing too. I mean, coaches have the raises built into their contracts in most cases, but that's not stopping any other school from coming in and saying, yeah, you were going to get a raise from 5 to 5.5, but what about a raise from 5 to 7?
Yeah. And you can bring all your assistants too.
Right.
Yeah.
Here's the other aspect of this that I looked up while you were talking. It'd be really interesting, Jay, if the Big Ten, on top of that rev share cap, essentially not counting against it to retain your roster, if the Big Ten was able to, on a sport by sport level, do what the NFL has done over the last few years with a performance-based pay.
Yeah.
For a kid, again, let's just use the Braden Frager example. I threw out the $300,000 number. Big Ten Sixth Man of the Year. Hey, we have this money for the student athletes as part of some investments we made or whatever. We can distribute that. If you win, postseason awards, if you play a certain percentage of the minutes and you're on essentially the quote unquote rookie salary. I don't think that's anywhere close to coming to college sports. But I think that would be another way for the Big Ten to help its schools out to try to keep the players, if they, as a league, could do what the NFL did and have that performance-based pay for kind of those lower on the totem pole younger players.
Yeah, I mean, you see like the state of Mississippi allowing or passed the rule potentially. I don't know if it's in full effect now that NIL money isn't taxed. Well, I think it's time for the Big Ten. We are dominating on the football field, right? We are now with the last 3 national champions that came from the Big Ten. And we have overtaken, the Death Star in the SEC. So we're trying to do it together. Remember the whole billions that were supposed to come in, and obviously it was USC and Michigan that kind of nixed it out. But the expansion of the college football playoffs, the SEC, nixed that. Well, then now we'll still work in partnership with you, but let's also be ahead of the curve.
Yeah,
because they're not going to wait for us. We shouldn't wait for them.
Right.
And so that'd be a perfect, scenario for the Big Ten to really set themselves apart. It will help the overall recruiting of the Big Ten, all 18 teams, especially if you have a player that, plays a ton on special teams and he gets in, and then next thing you know, he's starting like Mekhi Bear.
Mekhi Bear.
Right? Yeah. I mean, look at him. He goes from
Kenneth Walker.
Yeah, all of them. And, Williams last year in the kicker. He didn't play much on offense, but you can go from there, special teams or a rotational player, and then you get uptick. Then you get that nice.
Like a Luke Reimer.
Yeah. Then you get the uptick in money and stuff like that. So that'd be great.
Appreciate everyone texting in here. Bo Lever, Starkey, and Bennett, 6696 and 5703. I'll reply to you offline here. We got to go to break. Interesting situation coming from college basketball because of this NIL situation. We'll walk you through that, get you set up for hour 2 of Old School after this.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Gentlemen, are you ready for something beyond the ordinary haircut? At Scissors and Scotch Lincoln, they blend your old school barber feel with your favorite watering hole. Sink into a comfy chair, unwind with a complimentary drink, and let their master barbers handle the rest. It's not just grooming, it's an experience. Whether you're prepping for a big meeting, needing to get cleaned up before family comes to town, or just need a little time to yourself, Scissors and Scotch Lincoln delivers sharp style every time. Book now at Scissors and Scotch in Lincoln, just south of 30th and Yankee Hill Road.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
John just tried Runza's new Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger with its sweet heat bacon jam, pepper jack cheese, bacon, and cream cheese.
Whoa, this burger's like totally
What?
you know, boom, 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 boom.
Not sure I'm getting it.
It's totally jammin'.
Ah, I see. Well, don't jam with your mouth full. Try the Jammin' Bacon Cheeseburger. Because from the way we make it to the way it makes you feel, Runza makes it all better.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at gainatrucking.com.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
Is it time to replace your home comfort system? Call Bryant and save money in every way. Bryant provides you with solutions that save. Save big immediately with attractive rebates, and save every day with lower operating costs. Most important though, the systems are selected to fit you. The right system, priced right, properly installed. That's the way Bryant works for you. How much can you save? Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing for a free estimate. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Planet Fitness has everything you need to power your progress, so you can give everything you've got, all for just 1 cent down. Whether you want to get the most out of our best-in-class equipment or go all in with free fitness training, our trainers are ready to help you get stronger than ever before. Take your workout to the next level at Planet Fitness. Join the club today for 1 cent down, $15 a month. No commitment. Deal ends Friday, April 10th. You ready? Planet Fitness. We're all strong on this planet. See club for details.
Culture and Coffee with Mike Smith and the Bowie Boys is back this Friday, April 3rd, featuring members from UNL's Theta Chi fraternity to discuss their Car Smash philanthropy. Stop by this Friday between 5 and 8 p.m. as we turn the ticket into a skate park. That's right, a skate park, and also highlight the Car Smash philanthropy with Theta Chi. Again, that's 5 to 8 p.m. this Friday, April 3rd, for a live broadcast of Culture and Coffee from 5 to 7 p.m. and a Vintage Market Plus skate experience hosted by the Bowie Boys from 7 to 8 p.m. This is a party you won't want to miss, sponsored by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. This is Old School, hour one of the show, brought to you by the good folks over at Heartland of Nebraska Windows. Austin Orman and Jay Foreman with you. Jay, some breaking news out of college basketball. Not really going to move the needle for many people nationally, but kind of fits in with what we were just talking about. So Campbell's head coach, John Andrzejczyk, is now the former head coach of Campbell. This is a guy that just resigned today, just within the last few hours. And no, it's not an April Fool's joke. He put out a big, long statement saying in one of the paragraphs, over the last 6 months, it's become clear that Campbell has made the decision to shift their commitment from basketball. Simply put, the institution now has different priorities, and they are not compatible with putting the kind of team on the floor that you deserve. As difficult as this is, I respect the decision and understand it as one that the university feels it must make in what are unprecedented times in higher education. Yada, yada, yada. There are no pathways that the institution will support to fund the program appropriately moving forward. That's what the sitting head coach of Campbell said before he resigned. And he's moving on to become the associate head coach over at Louisville. And this guy, John Andrzejek, was previously on Florida's coaching staff with Todd Golden. He was essentially their defensive coordinator when they won the title last season. Think about that, leaving a national championship winning staff to go be a head coach at a, not huge mid-major, but one that's been in the news a little bit, of course, with Chris Clemens over the last few years and has made some noise in March from time to time. Just to go and after 1 year, have the rug pulled out from underneath your feet. Sorry, we can't fund your basketball program. Now, good landing spot at Louisville, but man, tough scene and tough look.
He just knew he just wanted to leave. It just like you get used to flying first class. Now you're in the back of the plane and you're getting the last budget ticket. And he's just saying that they're not funding it to what he wants. So he's like, I'm out. Now the reason why he's out, because you can go be, first or second assistant at Louisville. So Louisville's getting a high quality assistant coach, less pressure. I mean, you see it all the time. It's just like the Northern Illinois head coach. And there is a difference though, because a lot of times his best players are getting plucked.
Yeah.
Right. And so they can't recover as quickly.
Easily. Yeah.
He left to go be like the assistant running back coach at Seattle Seahawks.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Thomas Hammock.
Right.
Yeah.
So it happens. It does happen. And so I understand it though. And Campbell's more than a respectable program, but I think also, he might think, okay, if Louisville, we do some good things, he can get a Power 4 job.
Yeah.
You're going to see a lot of this a lot more.
It's a shame, but
it's like the head coach of the Dolphins. He left the Boston College to go be a defensive coordinator in the pros. A couple years later, he's the head coach of the Miami Dolphins.
Probably a step up.
So it can,
heck of a step up.
It can work out though.
It can.
And this is where he's at. It's unfortunate, but also it's a harsh reality of what we talked about. A lot of these schools are getting plucked. They don't have the financial resources to keep up, even in their leagues at times.
Right.
And, they got a pretty good football program down there too.
They do.
Yeah.
They do indeed. So best of luck to Johnny Andrzejek and Campbell as they part ways and move forward. We'll talk some more hoops throughout the course of the week. I do want to look at baseball, though, a little bit, Jay. Automated balls and strikes. Seems like it's gone pretty well for baseball. We can talk about that. And can the other leagues learn anything from the success that Major League Baseball has had with its review system? We'll do that and plenty more coming up on Old School Show. As always, brought to you by Graham Tire Company. They've got 4 locations here in Lincoln. They're celebrating 75 years of serving the Midwest. More than just tires, they do all kinds of car and light truck repairs, too. From brakes to oil changes, trust Graham Tire for service you can count on. Graham Tire, getting you to the places that matter most. We're on to hour 2 of the show next.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Gaina Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Gaina Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Gaina Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
Imagine if the people who work at your bank were neighbors who could help with a home loan.
Congratulations. You're approved.
Or friends who love to shop local.
Have a good one.
At UBT, who you work with matters just as much as what you're working toward.
Hey, thanks for helping.
That's why your money has more than a banker. It has people. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth. 93.7 The Ticket.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
At Schwezo Construction, safety isn't just a policy, it's a promise. Build with us. Work safe, go home proud. We're hiring skilled craftsmen, laborers, concrete workers, and steel erectors who value quality work and a team that has your back, on and off the job site. If you're ready to be part of a company where your safety and success come first, visit Schwezo.com. That's SCHWISOW.com and apply today. Schwezo Construction, 40 years strong and still building the future.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and we are very excited to announce our spring sales event happening now at Coppell. We have 0% financing or up to $13,000 off select GMC and Chevrolet inventory. You heard that right, 0%. Or $13,000 off select inventory. We'd love to see you at the store or check us out online at coppellcars.com. Folks, this is really confident buying and confident driving. Stock number C127238 and G173977 with approved credit.
Is it time to replace your home comfort system? Call Bryant and save money in every way. Bryant provides you with solutions that save. Save big immediately with attractive rebates, and save every day with lower operating costs. Most important, though, the systems are selected to fit you. The right system, priced right, properly installed. That's the way Bryant works for you. How much can you save? Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing for a free estimate. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Hey, it's Grant Wister. I co-founded Champ Roofing because I wanted to build a company with real integrity. The kind where you actually trust the people working on your home. We do roof replacements, inspections, gutters, and siding all across Nebraska, Lincoln, Omaha, and everywhere in between. Every job, we show up on time, do the work right, and stand behind it. That's what Champ is built on. Check us out at champ-roofing.com or give us a call at 402-858-7449.
In communities like ours, local relationships still matter. At Insight Partners, we believe we are better together. That's why insurance agencies across the Midwest have joined Insight Partners to better serve local customers and communities with all their insurance needs. From personal to commercial or specialty insurance, your local Insight Partners team is here to help protect what matters most. Insight Partners, better together. Learn more at myinspartners.com.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
93.7 The Ticket is Lincoln's home for Kansas City Royals baseball in 2026. Catch all the action as Bobby Witt Jr., Salvador Perez, Vinny Pasquantino, and a pitching rotation led by Cole Reagans try to lead the Royals back to the postseason. That's Kansas City Royals baseball all summer long. On the air in Lincoln at 93.7 The Ticket. Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln. This is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln. Your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome in. It is hour 2 of Old School here on The Ticket. I'm Austin. He is Jay. Whether you're driving home, still sitting in the cubicle at work, or doing whatever it is you do, really appreciate you dialing up the show here. We're on live on the ticket 3 to 6 p.m. weekdays here for this little ditty we call it Old School, brought to you, as always, by Graham Tire Company. 402-464-5685. Join the show. Jay Gingerbeard Man says, Jeff Halfley, not a step up for Dolphins fans. Let's just get that out of the way really quick. I'm not sure it's a step up.
Step up for him, though.
Big step up for him.
And
Mike
that
McDonald, probably a little underrated with the way things went down. I mean, still one of the better offensive minds in the NFL. Yeah. I thought he did a good job in getting a lot out of that roster, but Dolphin's going to Dolphin.
Yeah. I mean, I was just saying that you'll see some coaches that'll leave, mid-majors and stuff like that don't have this, the financial support. This is in any sport, football, and obviously particularly basketball is going to be huge just because those are ones that obviously, takes the most time and it takes longer to, rebuild, and teams pluck off a lot of your players from there. Go and be a coordinator somewhere, go and be a position coach somewhere because they feel like it's an easier path.
Yeah.
You can't fault them for it, but then also you can fault them for it because you made a commitment. You just got there, probably haven't even really, unboxed all your boxes from when you moved, and now you're on the move again to Louisville, and it's your choice. It wasn't by getting fired.
Yeah, so curious to see what happens, how much more often that continues to happen. Jay, we did officially crack the seal on automated balls and strikes at the Major League Baseball level over opening weekend.
The Padres are going to give hey, listen, I can tell you this right now. You remember when everybody was mad at, was it Tim Donahue? All those guys were mad at Allen Iverson, and they would, was Steve, it wasn't Steve Jav, was it Steve Javy and all them? Yeah, they were like, all right, I'm going to call a bunch of fouls on them.
Yeah.
You're going to see, listen, them umps are going to hate the Padres. And you already see it right away. And they're playing it like they should. And it'd be interesting if there's ever any compromise midseason.
I don't think there's going to be. I think this is the way that it's going to be, at least for this year. And I think it's been a rousing success so far. We can get into a little bit more, but just from the first weekend, right? So these were the numbers as of Monday. Catchers were successful with 64% of their challenges. Pitchers were successful with 40% of challenges. And batters were successful 42.3% of the time. So catchers doing a lot of the heavy lifting. So far, players have been successful 53.7% of the time at getting the call overturned. And I'll say this, Jay, you bring ABS, you bring replay in to get it right. And, there have been some egregious misses, both ways for balls or strikes by umpires. And those have gotten corrected. But what I think really stands out to me is twofold. Number one is that for as bad as umpires can be, they're usually pretty dang good at their job. And number two, there's a certain strategy element from baseball players that come in to challenge, right? They haven't made every pitch do or die, right? Sure, they're guys that get confident, get out over their skis and just want to challenge everything. Oh, there's no way that was a strike, and it just clipped the zone by, the tiniest fiber of the seam on the baseball, but it tracked. And of course, there's been some changes to that, where it used to be, where did the ball cross the front of the plate? ABS is measured about halfway back at home plate. It's a 2D plane instead of a 3D plane. So there's some differences there that everyone's working through. But I think seeing players be relatively judicious with the numbers of challenges and essentially seeing the success rate be 50-50 overall, for as bad a reputation as Major League Baseball umpires have gotten behind the plate, it's a pretty thankless job, and they're actually doing a pretty darn good job of it.
Yeah, they're doing a really good job, and it's twofold. I know I posted about the homeboy from that ejected 3 coaches from the Rangers. He still is not to be trifled with.
No.
Yeah, and he is a national gem. But when you look back, as I'm reading the same article, in the Cincinnati game against the Red Sox, where it worked out well, it was obviously Cincinnati fans were, a ton of applause, and obviously, got a reaction out of them because, they were wrong, and it's hard because not everybody's strike zone is the same, and so when you have a little bit of help, there's nothing wrong with it as long as the umpires don't take it personally and the players don't abuse it, and there will be some gamesmanship in there because this is one thing Tony Womack told me and Junior Spivey told me. You generally try to have a good relationship with the umpires.
Collegial.
Right. But there's some that that majority of the players do not like.
Yeah.
And that's probably still holds true right now. And so you have to make sure that you keep the business to the business and the personal to the personal, because ultimately you don't want to abuse something. You want to use it, especially when you can have Cincinnati or situations like Cincinnati last night with the Padres that worked out for them the most part.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want it to be a running joke
right.
and get abused. You want to make sure you use it to get it right so you can win games, because especially when you get to playoff time, it's going to be very, very important.
The Cincinnati and Boston series was unfortunately headlined by CB Buckner when he was behind the plate on Saturday. He was just 2 for 8, got 8 pitches challenged, was only right on 2 of them. The one that you're talking about, Eugenio Suarez is up to bat. Yeah. Buckner rang him up twice and got overruled twice.
Yeah. And so you don't want it to come back the next time.
Right. You don't want it to, but it's not really showing you up. If you got it wrong, you got it wrong. And I don't remember exactly how egregious the misses were, but later I think in that game, Buckner refused to appeal down to first base on a check swing, just ruled the Red Sox batter out, which to me is him taking it personal. Okay, you guys have challenged too much. I don't like it. I'm going to show you I know what I'm doing, or I'm just going to take the game out of your hands. When he took it too personal and didn't do something fundamental to the job. Yeah. Players and umpires can appeal on a check swing. He refused to, just said, no, you're out. I'm not allowing the appeal, and threw Alex Cora out of the game for it.
Yeah.
That's unprofessional.
Right. This early in the season.
Yeah.
He's trying to set the precedence, though. Moving forward, I'm not to be trifled with more than once.
Yeah.
And especially when he ends up being wrong, is definitely taking it personal and stuff like that. Or in the players, you want to be like your boy Matt Wallner from the Twins. He has the worst challenge going so far. The one was straight down the sweet spot, downtown, primetime O Street, and you got caught looking at a bases loaded 2 outs, strikeout.
Shout out Matt Wallner for that.
Yeah, so it
Salvador
out.
Perez picked off 3 low strikes in the first game of the year, I think. So
I mean, it works out. I like it. They had talked about doing something like that with the NFL. Especially ever since, remember when the Rams went down to the Saints and that bogus call that kind of cost, that was like the Saints' last chance to get to the Super Bowl. So, I mean, I think it's needed in sports, but also the problem is as these calls are either made or missed, it's going to be 10 times the intensity because they're going to be all over social media. There's going to be memes that come off of it. You could ump a great game and you miss one. You're the worst ump ever. There's ramifications of it, but ultimately, for Major League Baseball, if they get the process right and they get the results, that stuff will move to the wayside.
And I'm curious to see too how these umpires continue to handle it, because a lot of the misses, Jay, I mean, you get the egregious ones that miss by a couple inches. There was one that happened, right down the middle of the plate, essentially, that got called a ball and overturned to a strike. But some of these missed challenges by players, they're missing by like 1/10 of an inch.
Yeah.
Calls it a strike. Well, it's a ball by, 0.1 inches or whatever, which tells you just how thin the margins are. And I like that it's a black and white system right now for Major League Baseball. The creators of this system have admitted that, there's probably about a 1/2 inch margin of error for where the ball actually crossed the plate and in where we measure it. But it'd be really weird if you flash a graphic up on screen, ball nicked the strike zone. Well, the guy called it a ball. It's within the 1/2 inch margin of error. So even though it hit the strike zone that we're showing you, it was within the margin of error. It could have been called a ball. So it's going to stay a ball.
Yeah.
That's kind of incongruous. But you're showing me that it hit the zone. It should be a strike. So I'm okay with it being as down to the nitty gritty as it is right now for baseball, especially because these challenges are so quick. The average challenge is something like 13.8 seconds so far of game time. There's been an average, I think, of 4 appeals per game.
Yeah, so
you're adding a minute to the game,
right?
Which is really nothing when you factor in the pitch clock changes that have happened. Games have been so sped up, which is where it's so different in baseball, where calling balls and strikes is so fundamental to the game, but it can happen so quickly. Compare that to some of the minutes-long reviews we go through in football and at the end of basketball games. It's in the fabric and the nature of baseball that it makes sense that these challenges can be over quicker. But holy smokes, seeing baseball implement this system so successfully early on, and then having to go back and forth to basketball games here in the final minute, and this little skin tag touch the basketball? Yeah. Did the rotation change if we slow it down that much, or football?
Or volleyball.
it's just been so jarring to see baseball get its challenges over with so quickly and do it so successfully, kind of flying in the face of review and pretty much any other sport we've watched.
Who do you think is going to help more, the pitchers or the batters?
I think for the most part, this
and
is
it's not
going
just getting the
to-
calls, but is it going to make you help perform better? Because is it going to make the pitchers really hone in, or are you willing to roll the dice if you're able to generally get a call, but you know that you're going to have to pitch another pitch, because it wasn't in the strike zone?
Yeah, I think it's going to help batters more because I think it's been a bigger concern when the zone expands to be too big and it's just off the plate. But as we saw from the numbers from opening weekend, catchers know the zone relative to the batter so far better than batters or pitchers, right? I know some teams have just put a blanket ban on their pitchers challenging because everything looks like a strike to those guys. Oh yeah, I hit my spot. Come on, what are you talking about? And that's part of the human element of the game is if you hit your spot, but it's off the plate, sometimes you've been rewarded for a call like that. I think we've seen fewer cases in high profile moments of pitchers getting squeezed, having something called a ball when it was actually in the strike zone. We've seen more instances of the zone being expanded. It's just off the plate. A guy hit a spot, posted up, and it was actually off the plate. So I think it's really going to end up helping the batters more. But the other part I like about this, Jay, is there are 3 people that can initiate a challenge. It's the 3 people there in the battery, the pitcher, the catcher, and in the hitter. Whereas I understand why, in basketball and football, it's coaches' challenges. And I understand why sometimes we need booth reviews in football, but sometimes those booth reviews take forever and it seems insignificant. Sometimes it's at a key juncture of the game, but then you think back to Nebraska, Ohio State a couple of years ago. They don't review the Emmett Johnson spot, and for a player, if you're on the field, we can challenge it. Hey, this is where I ended up. Coach, we got to, tap the helmet and challenge this one. Or a basketball review, you have your 2, whether you win or you lose. I like that about baseball system as well. You have 2 until you miss on 2.
Yeah.
Right. Think about how that went for Nebraska on the road at Iowa, having used both its challenges, going 50-50 on it. Then it's over with. The Braves used both their challenges in the bottom of the first inning. They have to go the rest of the game without it, which will be a rare situation. But I think that we could also, it'd be really tough, right? I think in football and basketball for players to initiate these challenges. I like how Nebraska basketball handled it. But I do think that in that situation, like for Emmett Johnson against Ohio State, he sees that he's still in the game. They marked him short. No, we've got to review that. Like, I know where I ended up on the field because there's no reason the booth should miss that. But some of these booth reviews are just so unnecessary that there's a part of me that just wants them taken out of football.
Yeah, I mean, they're sometimes unnecessary, but it's also becomes a burden when you don't use them in, like Nebraska's case, the bogus spots on different ones, different when they were actually driving or when Ohio State was, got that crucial first down via the spot. So baseball's getting it right now. One of the few things they've been able to get right. So you got to give them credit. It hasn't really extended the game. I think they've made a couple good moves with the pitch count and all that stuff. And it's a little bit different in football because there's so many other factors that really you throw a ball or a strike. It's really black and white.
Yeah.
Football's a little different, I think, also because they tend to fall on the sword and the referee is always right. It's it has to be undisputable. When reality he's like, all right, he didn't get the first down. But if the ref calls it, you got to not only prove it 100%, 150%. That's the difference, right? So this is
then you have to do yardage and time on the clock and all that.
They
sort
didn't
of
want to
stuff.
do that.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into football calls as well that baseball doesn't have. But I think it's good that they're doing it right now.
Do we need a time limit for length of challenge in basketball and football?
Well, no, because you want to make sure you get it right. But
if you can't get it right in a minute and a half, isn't it just too close to call then?
Well, because they're looking at so many different angles. Where when they're doing, in my mind, when they're doing the strike zone, it's just essentially face on.
Yeah,
you're not going to be able to know where the strike zone is. You can the height of it, yes, but generally it's within that box. So by nature, it's going to be a lot
quicker.
faster.
Yeah.
So when you think about football, they go from like 5 or 6 different angles.
But is there a need to do that?
Yeah,
is it that important to get it right from 5 or 6 different angles that we've seen all those or most of those angles? Sometimes they conflict each other.
Yeah,
It looks
they
like
do.
it from one angle and not
Trust
from
me,
another.
I know. I was on the Music City Miracle. I saw that. I wish the angles were there, but you have to do it for plays like that. You have to do it for when I think 2 years ago when Buffalo was at Kansas City, that one spot that Kansas City was able to get on their way to getting a game-winning drive. So I think you'd like a little bit of a time limit, but I think they're trying to get it right. And also, I feel like they're negotiating whether like the referee really wants to change their call. Because some of them, when we see the 5 angles on TV, you generally can draw a conclusion pretty quick because they're not using a laser or anything.
No.
It's still the naked eye. And then they're discussing amongst themselves. The ref on the field is watching it. They have a guy or gal or people up there, 3 people up there in the booth. You probably need to really streamline the process quickly. Whether it's, everybody watching from 5 different angles individually, come together collectively. They have a time clock on it, but with TV and stuff, it generally goes a little bit too long.
Would football benefit from putting the little GPS chip in? Would that be too high in the football? Would that be too high tech? Would you put it in the middle of the ball? Would you put it at the point? I see that to me is a slippery slope as well.
Yeah, no, I'm not with all that because it'll probably throw off the dynamics, and you just don't want it like that. I think they're doing it right now is good. I just think they need to. I think they need to really redefine what's challengeable or not, and who's doing it. Can you really call just like you call down in the beginning of the game and you think somebody's woozy from a concussion? You should be watching that based on a challenge. Like that's what you're watching. Oh man, you probably a little bit 4 yards off there, buddy. You know what I mean?
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a problem.
That's a problem.
And be
try
quick
again
with it.
from the top.
Keep the game going. And then later in the game, they take it out of the hands of the coaches and the players.
Yeah.
Do it all game. What's the difference? Because just because it's like in the last 2 minutes of the game doesn't mean it's more important than 2 minutes before halftime, 2 minutes after halftime, the first 2 minutes of the game, or whatever it is. Every play in the NFL, because of the parity, is very, very important. And if you miss one in the first beginning of the game, it will affect the end of the game because you have to coach and play accordingly.
And see, that's great to say in theory. And again, you've played in the NFL, and I can't contradict you on that. But do we really care that much? We have to get every single play right. Can we live with some mistakes,
you can
especially
live with
in the
some
first
mistakes,
quarter?
but when they're big mistakes that you miss, when you miss a big mistake, okay, like the Des Bryant, however many years ago when he's up at Green Bay.
Did he really catch it?
Did he really catch it? Whatever.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you change the rule, right? Those are the ones I'm talking about. Not the ones where it's like, all right, Austin had a run for 8 yards and it should have been 8.5 yards. That's not it. When you're missing big calls, 2 feet in and all that, and you're trying to, since the ref called him out, then he actually, whether he's in or not. Then you're not really going down looking at blades of grass. I mean, I think the big calls should be they pay enough money, they make enough money, pay people that they should be watching all that type of stuff.
I guess to me, the situation that came to mind is, let's say you're, on a team's second drive in the first quarter, and it's 2nd and 9. They run for 9 yards, but they're spotted short. Should have had a first down, maybe by the nose of the football. I just don't want to see that challenge. Right. I mean,
But what if they don't get the first down?
That's what I'm saying. In this situation, they don't.
Okay. They don't get the first down. And then the next play, they have a turnover on downs.
It's wildly unfortunate, but at some point, I think you have to live with it because we can't be slowing down for every little situation.
But if they streamline the process, it won't be that much longer.
What does streamline mean to you?
Meaning that you're actually having somebody that's watching it. If you have, so look at these 2 light poles right here.
Okay.
So they have a straight on angle that I'm looking, one from the left and right, and the one that come over there. That's my job to do it. I can buzz you down and have a quick discussion. Now, NFL is different because they ain't got to bring the TV out there and all that. I think if you empower the people up there to make the decisions, I think the game keeps on faster. I'll push back on you and telling you, if I'm backed up in my red zone, Some rookie kick returner decides to take it out of the end zone. Oh, I'm going to get 40 yards here. He got his family and friends. He's just going to take it. He's supposed to down it, takes it. We're at the 16-yard line. First down, we throw a pass, incomplete. Second down, or say we get a yard. 2nd and 9, and he gets 9.5 yards or 9.1 yards. It should be a first down.
Mm-hmm.
Well, now we're in goal line situation. We don't have an offensive line to do the tush push. So now we try to run some flat pass. They stop it, or we get sacked. We're backed up now. The reason why it's important is because this is the hidden yardage when we always talk about Coach Osborne, where you're thinking about being able to turn the field over. We get that first down. We get another first down. Our defense has more rest. Now they're backed up. So they can no longer score with ease because instead of kicking the ball from the 16, you're kicking it from the 40. You're down, you're getting a fair catch down there. You're actually in a better position to get the ball back if the defense handles their business. So when you're playing in these games, especially right now, when you're talking about baseball, there's 62 games?
Mm-hmm.
Basketball, there's 82 games.
Football, there's 17.
17. And every game counts. Even though you play 17, it's really 16 because that first week, everybody's just chilling. You know
and
what
sometimes
I mean?
that last week, everyone's like, we're locked in.
Right. So you're really only about 14, 15 games. And so that's why they're so crucial.
And that's why the owners want 18.
And so you got to get off to a good start. You have to. Look at all the teams. You got to. Now, is it game changing? No, but
it could be. I take your point.
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be. Now, if you're Cleveland Browns, no.
There you go. Let's go to break. We'll call up Evan Blanda of the Omaha World Herald, talk some Husker baseball. Huskers are hot. Won last night against Creighton. We'll break down their month of March, look ahead to April next.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Hey, it's Grant Wistrom. I co-founded Champ Roofing because I wanted to build a company with real integrity, the kind where you actually trust the people working on your home. We do roof replacements, inspections, gutters, and siding all across Nebraska, Lincoln, Omaha, and everywhere in between. Every job, we show up on time, do the work right, and stand behind it. That's what Champ is built on. Check us out at champ-roofing.com or give us a call at 402-858-7449.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
In communities like ours, local relationships still matter. At Insight Partners, we believe we are better together. That's why insurance agencies across the Midwest have joined Insight Partners to better serve local customers and communities with all their insurance needs. From personal to commercial or specialty insurance, your local Insight Partners team is here to help protect what matters most. Insight Partners, better together. Learn more at myinspartners.com.
Keep managing your LES account the easy way, right from home. Pay your bill, check your energy use, or go paperless anytime at LES.com. Simple tools for your busy day.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
At Raising Cane's, we hand batter every chicken finger, mix every cane sauce, butter every Texas toast, stir every slaw, and salt every fry. Because when you do it right, you can taste it in every bite. Raising Cane's chicken fingers, one love.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppell Chevrolet GMC, and we are very excited to announce our spring sales event happening now at Coppell. We have 0% financing or up to $13,000 off select GMC and Chevrolet inventory. You heard that right, 0%. Or $13,000 off select inventory. We'd love to see you at the store or check us out online at koppelcars.com. Folks, this is really confident buying and confident driving. Stock number C127238 and G173977 with approved credit.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
That's right. Welcome back in. It's 4:30 on a Wednesday. Austin Orman, Jay Foreman with you here. But it's been too long. It's been too long since you've talked to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. He's with us on our Aloe Fiber VIP line, Aloe Fibers, where they understand the importance of exceptional service with local heart. Evan, spring football's over. Baseball's in full swing, and we haven't gotten a chance to talk about it because of that darn Husker basketball team. How you been?
Doing okay, yeah. I think it's Troy Dannon likes to say a lot of first world problems with some of the success going along. We'll manage.
Indeed we will. Let's say, Evan, that there are Husker fans that really locked in with basketball, and they knew about baseball. They know the team's doing well, but it's kind of been on the back burner. How would you describe the month that Nebraska had in March, really from the end of that Auburn series to the win against Creighton there yesterday? Take us through the month of March for Husker baseball.
Yeah, it's been awesome for people that are just checking in. It's, they typically come home to start early March, usually have a pretty manageable home schedule, and then get into league play. And this year they go undefeated at home in the non-con. They're actually still undefeated at home on the season, one of just a couple of teams in the country that can say that. And they're taking care of business in the Big Ten as well. I mean, you sweep Michigan State and Indiana at home. You take 2 or 3 from Michigan on the road, and that one loss is a 1-run Friday night classic against a really good pitcher on the other side. So it's, if you just had checked in February and saw that they they held their own against a pretty tough schedule on neutral sites. You missed a team that's been stacking a bunch of wins, and I think 18 of the last 19 at this point inside the top 25 in RPI. And, you look at some of the numbers associated with this team too, and they quite honestly back up what's going on. Defense has been solid. The offense is producing and doing it in different ways. And, the pitching has been sound too, just in terms of the starting pitching. And then I think they found some guys out of the bullpen that they really feel like they can trust as well. So, you can't make your season in March, but you can certainly lose it. And this is a year where Nebraska has set itself up for some better things ahead here in April and May.
We'll get into all those elements that you mentioned in just a moment here. Certainly results-wise, it's been incredible for Husker baseball. Are they playing good enough baseball consistently to the point that you would say, this is one of the best months they've ever had since Will Bolt's been the head coach?
In the Bolt era, no doubt about it. I mean, they've through the years, like before this year, they were 25-21 under Bolt in the midweek. And, fans remember the Creighton losses and losing to Omaha and some of the other teams. And they've taken care of business so far this year. I think that's been a big part of it. Winning at home has been a big part of it. They've always been about winning at about a 700 clip at home historically, but obviously you're unbeaten at this point. So you're really handling your business there too. And, you're doing it in different ways. Like they've needed to win a few slugfests. They've been able to lean on starting pitching at times. They've rallied late. They've gotten contributions from a lot of different players. And I think, one of the cool things about this team is there are a bunch of individual stories that have popped up. I mean, you've seen the emergence of Mac Moyer in center field and leading off. Carson Yasa is the Saturday guy after he had a very minor role last year. Jason Unger emerging as the closer, essentially, after he went in the portal last year and was essentially a non-factor on the 25 team. And Dylan Carey taking that next step as a power guy. Like, there are just a bunch of individual players who have developed, and you put it all together and you just see this run that they're on. I think intangibly it's a team that's close, and sometimes that can kind of be overlooked. But I think when you're in this era, when you're turning over half your roster every year, like the older teams that are closer and connected, not unlike Nebraska basketball, is a little bit extra valuable. And I think that's something else they're enjoying right now as they flip the calendar into April.
Do you think this is the best that this Nebraska team can play? Is it pretty close to its ceiling? Or do you think that there's more out there for this team and maybe some places they could take a step up over the course of April and into May?
Yeah, I think they can. They fought through a few injuries to this point. I think Will Jeske is a guy that they feel like can be a top 5 or 6 bat in their lineup, and he's been out for most of the month of March with a hamstring. And in the mark of a good team, the guys have filled in well behind him. Drew Grigo's emerged. Max Butenbach has found his stroke a little bit more. I think that's an area just in general, that corner outfield spot, that can continue to produce probably at a higher level even than what it has at this point. I think your infield probably is doing about what you expected all the way around. Jeter Worthley has come on after a slow maybe first few weeks adjusting to college pitching. He's looking like the high end prospect that he came in as. So I think it's probably corner outfield, and then I'd say the bullpen would be the other spot where you could, I think, optimize things a little bit more. I mentioned Jason Unger is a guy who's emerged, but I think you're seeing some other guys starting to build some trust too. I mean, Chase Olson had a big inning late against Creighton last night. Ryan Harrahill's had his moments. Jalen Worthley has come on at times. Tucker Timmerman's been in the bullpen. Kevin Minnell, I think, has another level to his game than what we've seen to this point. So I think as you figure out those roles a little bit more and you're able to cover that like 6th, 7th, 8th inning type of situation, that's probably the next step Nebraska can take. But I do think, if you're talking about optimizing it 100%, I'd say Nebraska is probably in that 80 to 85% right now, just when you're talking about just guys playing toward their potential and taking steps forward from last season.
And that's a pretty darn good spot to be here as the calendar has officially flipped to April. We're talking Husker baseball with Evan Bland of the Omaha World-Herald. Let's go ahead and start on the mound, Evan. You named a lot of those interesting names, but let's just kind of look holistically. Nebraska has walked more batters as a pitching staff than it has more walks as a pitching staff than its batters has taken by about 20 here through the first 30-odd games of the season. Have walks been a concern if they come back to hurt Nebraska, or if not, how has Nebraska overcome maybe some of those free passes it's issued?
Yeah, I mean, it's hurt at times. It almost cost them the game against Creighton last night. I mean, they had 3 free passes, walks, or hit by pitches to open, that 6th inning where Creighton scored 5. And, those 3 came around. Nebraska still found a way to win. But, that's been the mantra under Rob Childress as the pitching coach, and Jeff Christie before that was just pound the strike zone, like more so in college than in the major leagues. Like, just don't beat yourself, right? Like if you're walking guys, then you're not giving your team a chance. Put the ball in the strike zone and let your defense go to work and let the batter get themselves out at times. And so I think they've generally done a pretty good job at that. You know, you look at, I like to look at strikeout to walk ratio. I think that's a really critical stat for the success of any pitching staff. And Nebraska's top 75, which is above average, not great, not elite, but above average. So I think there's still room to grow a little bit there. But then you see, I think the defense has probably been as solid as you could expect. I mean, Dylan Carey plays as good of a shortstop as anybody in the country. Mac Moyer in center field has been outstanding. And Jeter Worley behind the plate as a true freshman has been solid. So I think that's, the defense is maybe allowed for a little bit more margin for error there. So I do think that's an area Nebraska would like to improve in. They believe they can improve in. But to this point, it obviously has not been a deal breaker for the wins that keep piling up.
It certainly hasn't been a deal breaker for Carson Yassa, who has the most walks on the team with 21, but also far and away the most strikeouts with 55 of them. Has he made the leap? Has he taken that next step the Husker coaches were waiting on?
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, considering where he came from as a guy who redshirted, you don't see a ton of red shirts come through Nebraska baseball. He redshirts the first year because they just don't feel like the command is reliable. And then he has a little bit more, action or run last year. But even then, I don't believe he pitched much past early April. They just couldn't trust the ball to go where it was supposed to go all the time. And so, yeah, he goes off to the Cape Cod League, has a great summer. I think he's found his command. Kind of interestingly, he's found his command through the off-speed pitch instead of the fastball. So, he's got that mid to upper 90s velocity. But when he really needs to make a pitch, it's going to be the kind of slider curve hybrid instead of the heater, which is, I think, something that throws a lot of opposing hitters off. And so when you have the swing and miss to the level that Carson Yassa does, you can afford to walk a few guys. And I think the sort of the tiebreaker there is he's actually able to give Nebraska some distance too. He's able to pitch into the fifth and sometimes the sixth inning, so you're not having to tax your bullpen. So, I mean, this is a guy who's going to get draft attention, I think, this summer. If he comes back, certainly next summer as well. He's got that ability. But, again, if he's going to walk a few guys, it's not necessarily unexpected or something that's going to submarine his outing, because he does have that ability to come back with multiple pitches to miss bats or to get weak contact the way that he has.
In Big Ten play, just for reference here, Carson Yassa against Michigan, 8 strikeouts and 1 walk. Against Indiana, it ended up being 10 strikeouts and 5 walks. Against Michigan State, 9 Ks against those 6 walks. So certainly some power stuff there. In the back end of the bullpen then, Evan, you mentioned a couple guys that were on my list to bring up. Jayshon Unger and Chase Olson. What has Nebraska gotten out of those two? Specifically, Unger there in the back end, moving into that closer role, like you mentioned. What's he shown here through the first 6 or so weeks of the season?
Yeah, interestingly, both of those guys went to the West Coast League. They were both in Corvallis, Oregon last summer, and that was I think a really formative time for both of those guys, as summer ball often is when you go out and you're just kind of putting together a bunch of innings at the college level for the first time. So, I mean, Unger's story is pretty cool. Like, you think about a year ago, he was a true freshman. He pitched 2/3 of an inning at Omaha, and that was it. He went into the portal and was looking to go to the junior college level to get some playing time. And instead he breaks out, just has a great summer in Corvallis, makes the West Coast League All-Star team, and Nebraska brings him back and says, okay, let's see what you got. And, you look at what he's done this year. He's been in the highest of high leverage situations for Nebraska, including that Creighton win on Tuesday night when, they have the winning run on base there in the 9th, and he makes the pitch to get him out of it. And he's wiggled out of bases loaded jams, and he's been key parts of their series wins and their midweek success. And so, just another trait, I think, of a winning team, because you think back to the preseason. I mean, Kevin Monell was the guy that coaches had tabbed as being that closer when he comes in as a transfer, and he's been up and down. And to Unger's credit, he's stepped into that role and just taken it and run with it. You look at his 10 appearances this year, this kind of illustrates how much they trust him. His last 8 outings have all resulted in either a win or a save for him. So, like these are situations where the game's very much in the balance. And, he's got the velocity, he's got the variety of pitches to do it. And no doubt he's emerging as one of the better individual stories on this team right now.
Flipping things over to the offense, you mentioned Mac Moyer, a guy that got some spot duty in Phoenix before starting, I believe, the final game of that series. Maybe it was the third game, and then has really taken off from there. That's a guy, Evan, that as a younger player, I thought was going to cool down eventually. He hasn't. Still has more walks than strikeouts, hitting for a high average, getting on base. What's made Mac Moyer so successful since he's been really inserted into the lineup over the course of the last month or so?
Yeah, I think what stands out about Mac Moyer is he does things a little differently than most of the rest of the lineup, where, Nebraska made this pivot in the offseason to say we're going to be a power hitting team. And Moyer is sort of the exception to that, and in a great way, because he's setting the table at the top of the lineup consistently. When you have an OBP, right near 500, like you're getting on and you're scoring from first on those doubles, or you're stealing and you're setting up those run producers behind you to produce. And so, another just a cool situation where he came into the year as sort of in the mix in the outfield. And, like you mentioned, gets a start opening weekend, asserts himself, and now he's a mainstay in the top of the lineup. He's been playing a great defensive center field as well. And as you might expect from the son of a longtime major league pitcher, like he's got the IQ and sort of the deep-rooted love of the game that really kind of endures. Like he's not a guy that's going to get tired in a midweek or overlook an opponent. Like he really loves and understands the game. I think that shows up in how he plays, and obviously a catalyst near the top of the lineup. And another example of a guy settling in at a spot where the original plan didn't necessarily play out, right? Like Devin Nunez was kind of the guy in center going into the year, and then he started off cold, and now he's hurt. And so Moyer, to his credit, has jumped in and seized that job. So just another trait, I think, that describes why Nebraska is winning at the level that it is.
I'm sure Dylan Carey didn't envision being back at Nebraska for this year, but he got a chance to etch his name into the history books with taking over his skipper spot atop the all-time doubles record for a career at Nebraska. Talk a little bit here, Evan, about Dylan Carey's journey, where he started as a freshman to now being one of the most feared hitters in the entire country.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of their top recruits coming out of high school, out of the Denver area. One of those rare guys who was a starter right away at shortstop. I think he played some third base, in his first year too, but was a guy who seemed destined to be a three and done sort of player. And like you mentioned, last summer, he tests the professional waters, and scouts pretty much tell him, hey, if you're going to play that position, like you need to be more of a power threat than what you have been to this point. And so he took that to heart and went out and retooled his swing and added some muscle. And, you look up and you see he's got 8 home runs now, and obviously just took the career doubles record at Nebraska away from his head coach. And that's on top of the things that he was already doing, like being, a great teammate and playing an outstanding defensive shortstop. And so, like, that's another deal where Nebraska expected that he was going to move on. That's why they brought in Jet Buck. And so they envisioned Buck playing shortstop, and now instead you've got Carey there, and you're seeing Buck at second, you're seeing him in left field. So just another example of how some of these circumstances have played out to where Nebraska's lineup's a little bit deeper, a little bit longer. And, they have a senior now who's enjoying his best season, and Nebraska's enjoying its best season kind of simultaneously.
Punctuated in the month of March by a win over Creighton. Covering it all for the Omaha World Herald, Evan Bland. As I've been on the road with basketball, I've been keeping up with what Evan's been writing and covering. So, Evan, I appreciate you keeping me in the loop. Good, as always, to talk to you, and we will get back to doing this more regularly. Thanks a ton.
Let's do it. Thanks, Austin. See ya.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald joining us on our Allo Fiber VIP line. Allo Fiber is where they understand the importance of exceptional service with Local Heart, the internet provider of your Nebraska Cornhuskers. We'll bring in a former Husker and a Hall of Famer, Jay Foreman, to wrap up Hour 2, get you set up for Hour 3 of Old School on the other side.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
Is it time to replace your home comfort system? Call Bryant and save money in every way. Bryant provides you with solutions that save. Save big immediately with attractive rebates, and save every day with lower operating costs. Most important though, the systems are selected to fit you. The right system, priced right, properly installed. That's the way Bryant works for you. How much can you save? Call Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing for a free estimate. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
Sandhills Global is growing right here in Lincoln. With our expanding campus and continued growth, we're hiring across a wide range of careers, from interns to experienced professionals. Join the team at Sandhills Global and build your career with competitive pay, great benefits, and real opportunities to grow. Visit sandhills.jobs to view openings and apply today. That's sandhills.jobs.
Keep managing your LES account the easy way, right from home. Pay your bill, check your energy use, or go paperless anytime at les.com. Simple tools for your busy day.
Rick Heyman here from Sartor Heyman Jewelers. I want to personally thank our great customers for voting us once again the best of Lincoln. At the same time, we're celebrating our 120th year in business in the great state of Nebraska. You can count on Sartor Heyman for the very best quality, value, and customer service. When it comes to your jewelry needs, visit us at South Point, Grand Island, and the Outlet in downtown Lincoln. Visit us today at sartorheyman.com, and thank you for your continued trust after all these years.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
We hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Timco Building Company in Lincoln honors our fighting men and women of the military and all of the veterans who have gone before. We salute you and thank you for your sacrifice. We understand freedom comes with a price. Thank you for serving our country and defending our freedoms. Our prayers go with you and your families. Stay safe, stay strong, and may God bless America. This military tribute from Timco Building Company in Lincoln. Call 402-499-3873.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Welcome back in. It is Old School, wrapping up hour 2 of the show. Final segment of hour 2, as always, sponsored by the good folks over at Love Volleyball Nebraska. Regular season winding down. Get your final tickets at lovbneb.com. Today, get ready for the playoffs as well for Love Volleyball Nebraska. Let's head to our starter Heyman Jewelers text line here, 402-464-5685. Jay, 2366 chimed in right at the very tail end of our discussion about replay and mentioned that with replacement refs that could be coming to the NFL, it could mean that more calls could be wrong. Might need more than a couple minutes to discuss this, but just as a baseline, yeah, I mean, we have that whole saga going on in the NFL with the refs and holding out over pay and all sorts of other stuff going on behind the scenes with that situation. But we've seen the replacement refs before, the Hail Mary between the Packers and the Seahawks. NFL's kind of used to this, but add in all the replay responsibilities on top of the way football has changed. Not going to be an easy league for these quote-unquote replacement refs to walk into.
Yeah, I mean, it's not only that. If they're delayed in getting a deal done, to get the regular refs back, you're behind the 8 ball anyways. So the longer it goes past, the first real mini camp, because most teams will bring some refs in, so they're it's like extra reps for them. I mean, obviously, the refs will tell you as long as we can get our training camp reps in, and obviously preseason games, which they only do like maybe 1 or 2. Now they'll be there for the inter-squad scrimmages, but ultimately, the more that they can do, the better the product. And there's less refs out there. It's been actually a problem in basketball and football.
Yeah.
So you're going to be probably trying to bring out some college refs, maybe, get some older refs to do it. And if it's a ref that's been in their union, it's that whole, it's before your time when, you go over the picket line and all that stuff. There's some relationships that you don't want to, bend for maybe a couple weeks. And so, it's all negotiated employee right now, but looks like the NFL is willing to, hold their feet to the fire. They can. They're in a power position.
Right.
But look, it's not going to be a good situation if the replacement refs come in, and if it goes too long, the regular refs won't be as good as either.
Right.
There'll be crucial calls, and then it'll come down to a crucial call there, and then it'll go back all the way to this problem right now that'll get referenced then. You knew your contract was coming up. Both sides knew. You knew probably in and around about what each side was willing to pay or want. Should have had the deal done. It always does this. There's no reason.
No reason to take it up to the final hour.
I don't see there's a reason for any CBA or not. We talked about.
Well, baseball's facing that too after this year.
There should never get to the 23rd hour. Majority of the stuff should be knocked out.
Yeah.
And, for the refs, look, it's a thankless job. There's more games, so they want to get paid more. There's more pressure. The NFL is obviously bringing in more cameras and more help. So they're like, we need you, but not as much. You actually do, because the human element is probably the one that means the most. And obviously that's the ebb and flow of the game. The computer cannot tell the flow of the game and who's playing and who's doing what. The refs are down there on, boots on the ground.
They are indeed, but that is not the only drama striking the NFL. NFL draft around the corner, and shocker, the Philadelphia Eagles are in the news. We'll talk about that. Plenty more still ahead in hour 3 of Old School, brought to you by Graham Tire.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet, KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Are you looking for a fresh new hangout spot? Let me tell you about Liquid Assets Sports Bar, where Mondays mean new weekly drink and food features. With 23 taps, a full lineup of cans and bottles, and 40 TVs blasting every sports package out there, you'll never worry about missing a play. Savor high-end spirits at their stylish top-shelf bar, enjoy a healthy menu, family-friendly atmosphere, and catch all of your favorite teams every day. Doors open daily at 11 a.m. Liquid Assets Sports Bar, located at 2755 Jamie Lane in South Lincoln.
In communities like ours, local relationships still matter. At Insight Partners, we believe we are better together. That's why insurance agencies across the Midwest have joined Insight Partners to better serve local customers and communities with all their insurance needs. From personal to commercial or specialty insurance, your local Insight Partners team is here to help protect what matters most. Insight Partners, better together. Learn more at myinspartners.com.
If you or anyone you care about is facing a family legal matter, call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL or visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
There's a lot on the line in divorce. This is Joe Cordell of Cordell & Cordell, the largest family law firm in the country, with over 35 years of helping clients navigate divorce. But being big doesn't mean less personal or less local. Our attorneys live and work in your community, and as neighbors, they understand the challenges your families face. Divorce touches all areas of your life: your home, savings, retirement, and of course, kids. So when you find yourself facing divorce, you need a partner you can count on. Visit CordellCordell.com to schedule your consultation.
If you or anyone you care about is facing divorce, contact Cordell and Cordell today. With over 100,000 clients served, we understand the challenges you're facing on a personal level. Call Cordell and Cordell today at 1-855-GET-LEGAL. That's 1-855-GET-LEGAL. 1221 N Street, Lincoln.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
The Lincoln forecast for today: showers likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy and breezy, the high around 51. Tonight, showers likely, the low around 44. And tomorrow, showers likely in the morning, otherwise mainly cloudy and breezy, the high near 62. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Looking for something fun tonight? Axe throwing, local beer, and great vibes are waiting at Arbor Axe House. From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Imagine if the people who work at your bank were neighbors who could help with a home loan.
Congratulations, you're approved.
Or friends who love to shop local.
Have a good one.
At UBT, who you work with matters just as much as what you're working toward.
Hey, thanks for helping.
That's why your money has more than a banker. It has people. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
MMA is back this Saturday with VFL 6 spring session at the complex. Lincoln's best amateur and professional MMA fighters will display their best performances, headlined by a welterweight bout between Trayson Havel and Ezra Dozier. Get your tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com, where you can also get pay-per-view streaming. Enjoy the atmosphere and festivities, which are second to none. Doors open at 6 p.m. and first bout is at 7 p.m. this Saturday, April 4th for VFL 6 at the complex at 1555 Yolanda Avenue.
Coming at you live from the heart of downtown Lincoln, this is Old School with Foreman and Orman. Nebraska Football Hall of Famer Jay Foreman.
Here's Troy Detmer dropping straight back in the pocket. Rifles a pass. It was tipped. It's picked off by Foreman. He's at the 15, 10, 5. He'll score! Foreman got it, and it's touchdown Huskers.
Black shirts, answer the call one more time.
And Austin Orman. Old School with Foreman and Orman is sponsored by Graham Tire Company of Lincoln, your tire store next door with 4 Lincoln locations. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, third hour, Old School, the New School Way, 1040 O Street on this Wednesday, rainy Wednesday on Hump Day. Appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate the text. We are brought to you by Graham Tire, 75 years of excellent service, both in Lincoln and Omaha, and they can take care of all your car or truck needs along with your tire needs. They hooked me up, and hopefully this rain does not turn to any snow anytime soon, but I'm well prepared by our friends there at Graham Tire. So like Austin mentioned, a little drama going on in the NFL. Like always, a lot of it comes out now that they have, like the owners and coaches are down in Florida, and that's where you have a lot of media stuff. You've seen Jerry Jones hold court, say some stuff that just sounds ignorant. Once again, he doesn't want to negotiate with the agent. He wants to negotiate with the player. You've seen Jim Harbaugh talk about a possible Odell Beckham Jr. reunion in New York, kind of where his stardom, or that was his stardom. It was apex, and he never really did anything after that. You had, once again, you have a huge story coming out of Philly. First of all, it was when the Cardinal gets picked, the smoke comes out like A.J. Brown was going to get traded. And then now here comes Jalen Hurts in that story. A little bit of a more in-depth update on Patrick Mahomes.
Indeed.
And it sounds like he's going to potentially be ready to go week 1. We'll see. Or Justin Fields is going to be ready to go. And then the best part of it is when they do the coaches pitching, because it's break. I mean, Buffalo Bills coach Brady for the Buffalo Bills. He's like 6'3", and you got him in the front.
Yeah.
And he must got the rookie treatment. And then you see the guys.
Oh, but is it rookie treatment to be in the front and sit down, or do rookies have to stand?
I would rather stand. It just looks odd when you look at it. I don't know if you saw the picture.
Yeah. I saw the picture.
Everybody around. There's tiny men around it. Like LaFleur is tiny,
not big.
Right.
Yeah.
And there's Brady.
Barstool did a pretty funny review of what the coaches looked like in
Right.
it. I would maybe point people to that if you want to laugh.
Yeah.
But
yeah, it is. Yeah, Barstool did a really good job where Andy Reid has his flower shirt on.
not this year though.
He did. He had a different shirt on.
It was just like a light blue,
Like
and
blue,
they made
that's right.
Andy stand. They didn't let Andy sit.
And he looked at it like, oh, you still can't stop me in the playoffs. Then they were making fun of Robert Saleh, that just had like he just got done working out in a long sleeve hoodie.
They got your boy AG. Said he had to wear a team-issued quarter zip to remind people that he's still the head coach.
Yeah,
dang.
Yeah. Well, especially after you make this statement that Geno Smith is going to take you to the promised land. I know AG. I know he doesn't think that.
But what if he does?
He has to.
But he has to believe it. He has to.
At this point, you better believe it, because there's no going back. You got rid of Justin Fields and you brought in Geno Smith, which in theory could be a little bit better as long as he's healthy. And they blocked somebody, but they haven't blocked anybody in 4 or 5 years, right?
Right.
You got the former head coach in Saleh on the other end, and the new head coach over there. Robert Saleh's in Tennessee. He's like, look at you. Yeah, and so it's interesting because you got the, Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell's looking jacked as ever back there. Big old chaw in his big old dip in his chin there or his mouth. But but the breaking news is, if you haven't heard, is I think it's four coordinators, right? Now here's the problem with it. Like, I think it's Jeremy Fowler did the report.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, nobody wants to go on record, and that's not going to happen because all the coaches all the coordinators that have coached Jalen Hurts, and some of the players are anonymous, are still active in the NFL.
Yeah,
and you can see some of this stuff brewing if you just watch the interactions and just watch him. Right now, when you're winning and you win a Super Bowl, and they had that really lull in that middle of the season, and then it was on the piggybacks of when they went down to Tampa, or when they were 10-1 and they just kind of sputtered and went down to Tampa and lost. Jason Kelce went into retirement. Fletcher Cox retired, all that, and he was still the quarterback. And there was issues even when Kellen Moore was there. There was issues when there was other coordinators. But then it was always like, well, he's cool, calm, and collective. He doesn't turn the ball over. He doesn't want to run as much, trying to protect him. Shane Steichen and stuff. Now, where you got to think about it, where they've all had the same conclusion. Hard to work with, hard to coach, becomes uncoachable, and kind of does his own thing. Now, everybody was mad at A.J. Brown because he was reading the book. Now, listen, I can tell you this, man. I've been frustrated as all get out at times during a game. Heck, sometimes you'd be at home, you'd be mad, right? I just get on. My book is I just watch TikTok.
There you go.
I get this on, and I shouldn't even be admitting that, because
grilling and chilling.
Yes, that's what I tell you. I watch it, but some of the funny stuff on there, hours ago past.
Oh yeah.
Now AJ Brown's at a place of work, and with I don't know how many people were in Philly Stadium, right? It's got to be 50, 60,000 people, right? So let's just say 60,000 people there. You're so mad because you don't want, and I got to give him credit, because he doesn't want to come off as a diva or not a good teammate.
So instead, he's going to come off as cultured and eloquent.
He just said, I just need to just read a book. Now, I think everybody maybe owes him a formal apology.
Maybe.
No, maybe. You do, because it's within reason, because when you really read between the lines, and it's not, AJ Brown could do some stuff because he had a couple big drops and all this other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But I've seen, and I've been fortunate enough to always be around like good teammates. But when you have a guy that's able kind of to do some things, and you look, AJ Brown's one of the best receivers in the league. So this isn't like some chump right here trying to get somebody throwing the ball.
Right. He's not Robert Woods speaking up.
He's paid like the number one. They've got him. And I think that's the main reason why Philly hadn't traded him up to this point. Now, he's potentially going to be getting traded. He's connected to New England. And AJ's matured since Tennessee. But when you see the things about Jalen Hurts, I think, and I'll say this, he's gotten away with the good-looking brother tax way too long. It is. He's gotten the Shamar Moore treatment. It is. I'm telling you. He's good looking. He's in all the commercials. He does it right.
Coach's kid, played for Saban.
I think his wife or something like a lawyer, and he's got one of the top agents that has to be a female. He's Jordan Brand, so he's got the seal of approval. He had the thing where he walked past that the TV going into the Super Bowl, and he had before the game. He's like, "We'll see," and then he won. And then remember after he's smoking a cigar, all that. It. Look, man, I listen.
You're just saying it.
Yeah, I'm just keeping it.
Putting it out there.
That's the way it is.
That's fine.
If he looked like he got hit with a bag of nickels, he ain't getting away with nothing. I'm just telling you. No, I mean, it's part of it, right? So how can you be mad at somebody so handsome?
If you're
a teammate.
My read from this piece, Jay, was that these unnamed people, whether it's, staffers or coaches or players, they were maybe like 10% frustrated with Jalen Hurts, the guy, and like 90% frustrated with Jalen Hurts, the player, the quarterback. Because, but I'm
going to just tell you, though, they go hand in hand.
Okay. My read on this was that people respect the climb that Jalen Hurts has had.
Oh, for sure.
Later round draft pick, working his way up, cast off from Alabama, essentially, to go put up numbers at Oklahoma, to get drafted, to make his way through it. And Jalen Hurts has some football talent, dual threat quarterback, heck of a deep ball. But there's more, I think, scheming for him as an offense than there is scheming against him as a defense.
Yeah.
Right. In some ways. And you know what Jalen Hurts does well. You also know where he's limited, right? The piece detailed how he wasn't that good against zone. Maybe he's a little reticent to throw the ball over the middle and put it in tight windows. A.J. Brown's numbers were really good against man, less good against zone. So some blame goes both ways. And then the people that are supportive of Jalen compared him to, well, it's Michael Jordan's attitude and it's Kobe Bryant's attitude. That's great. Guess what? You're not the NFL's equivalent of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
You're not the NFL's equivalent of Kobe Bryant. And I think everyone there generally likes Jalen Hurts, the guy. They respect his mindset. They respect his approach to the game. But then you get those reports, he's freelancing. He's freewheeling. Did they tailor too much to him? Did they not tailor enough to him? It came out, well, Jalen Hurts didn't want to use as much motion that Kellen Moore worked in. He hates going under center, doesn't want to turn his back to the defense. Some of that is preference. Yeah. Some of that is, okay, well, if the guy's not good at it, don't ask him to do it. But then it's, well, you're an NFL quarterback. And if you can't take a snap from under center, that's kind of a problem. And so I kept reading this piece, waiting for people to say, oh, Jalen Hurts is bad for the locker room. He's a bad guy. He's impossible to work with. Why is he still around? They never got to that point.
No.
I think all the people talking about Jalen Hurts like that know that they could do so much worse. And that Jalen Hurts has been an integral piece in Philly getting back to the mountaintop. And to Jalen Hurts' credit, he's on his 6th play caller in 7 years. He only had Shane Steichen for back-to-back years. Maybe, some of that is Jalen Hurts' fault for being a little difficult to work with, for not being more flexible, for not being more adaptable, for not adding to his game. But maybe, if Jalen Hurts had some more stability, had a coordinator that he was comfortable with for more than 3 years at a time, they would have been able to get through to him and get him to make some of those changes that meld what he does well with what the team needs to be able to take that next step forward.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think it's, I don't think he's a guy that's, I don't think he was like Kyler Murray a couple of years ago.
Not even the Russell Wilson level of drama.
Yeah, he's close.
But Russ feels different, though. I don't think it's an ego thing with Jalen like it is with Russ. That's my read from the piece.
It's getting there.
Okay.
Russell went from the ego of 0 to 25, in on a scale of 0 to 10, instantly.
Yeah.
Where Jalen is, and I'm gonna tell you this about any player, even myself, and Jalen's obviously, accomplished player. He won a Super Bowl. He's a great player. He's, obviously accomplished more than I have, or I did, in his,
There's still time you can unfile the papers.
Yeah. I had a good career. He's had a good career, but you're very particular about what you like, generally, right? Every player's like that.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. They're very particular about what they're like. But when you're very particular about what you like, but it's a detriment to the team and the offense, then that's where your ego is, because now once you get paid, you won the Super Bowl, you went to the playoffs, you won. Yeah, guys like you, but has your attitude really changed? And if you see him how he floats now, he's moving a little different. He is. He's moving just like how Russell Wilson is moving. The relationships aren't there. And the one thing I would tell you, if you're a quarterback, and I always tell about the story about Doug Flutie. And at the time that when I was in Buffalo, Doug Flutie was one of the franchise quarterbacks. You've heard stories about Tom Brady. You've heard stories about Dan Marino. You've heard stories about Peyton Manning. When you are at that position, okay, it doesn't matter how many commercials you're on. Guys in the locker room don't care. They ain't gonna treat you no different, dude. You walk by, they'll snap you with a towel. If you come in there looking with a busted game day fit, you're going to get clowned. Straight up. That's the way it is. There is no holds barred. But once you kind of think you're kind of leveling up and everybody is still down here, and then you're trying to do some things and you're not a part of the team, in there with the guys, that's where you have Devontae Smith, I think after the game this year, said that, that he said there was an issue.
1-11, he called out specifically.
Right. So, they got some problems.
Mm-hmm.
So it's real. This is not fake. So, and I don't think it's all on Jalen Hurts, but when you talk about it's 10% on the guy, 90% on how he plays, the guy controls how he plays in this situation. Mm-hmm. Right. And when you think about it, if you don't have a connection with your receivers, and granted, receivers are always open, they always want the ball.
Yeah.
But if you're not doing things, it's particularly about the game. I think when they talk about what they call to play for Dallas Goedert has been frustrated. They seem to keep him.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, that's the one against the 49ers,
Yeah, 49ers.
where they said 4 verts, and we still don't know who actually called it or who won it.
And then you have to really look at the quarterback and say, like, are you going to run this? Like, sure, he's a franchise quarterback, but you still have offensive coordinators calling the play. And I just think it's one of those things that when you really look back on it, now, sure, Jalen Hurts, he's probably sitting back in his house now. I think he lives around the Houston area or something like that. It's like, man, everybody's coming at me now. It makes it a little bit of a different environment. I don't think they ever really rectified the issue during the season. That's how you get these reports. Because when there's friction like that, you meet together as men and you keep it in-house. Head coach, right?
Yeah.
Quarterback, maybe coordinator, star receiver, and that big dude that's on the side was whatever his name is.
Big Dom or whatever.
Yeah. Hash it out, get it. It's no different when you have these team meetings or players-only meetings.
Well, and that's what one of these paragraphs in this piece said, is that both Hurts and Brown are kind of introverted.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's not as much willingness to do something like that, where they just trust they'll figure it out, or I'm not going to go move first.
Well, it's like one of those things. It's like, I'm waiting for you to talk. Like, okay, so Jalen Hurts is thinking, I'm the quarterback. If he has an issue, he needs to be man enough to come talk to me. A.J. Brown's like, I'm your number one receiver. You know you haven't been getting me the ball. You know you've been going off script. You owe me the respect to come in and talk to me. And then, but here's the difference. A.J. Brown in that locker room has more footing than Jalen Hurts, no matter if he gets traded or not, within the whole team. You already know. When you have a player that will tell you there's an issue, it's directly on the quarterback. I'm just telling you right now. In that conversation is in that locker room. That conversation is in level 2. That's in the scouting department. That conversation is in that skybox with Jeff Lurie and all them. That conversation is there. They are watching from a bird's eye view, and they're seeing things that's not even here. They're looking at the interaction. They know this is business to them.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And the business to them is winning the Super Bowl. They know they have the most talented roster, and it just seemed to sputter. That's why Sirianni was on the hot seat a couple years ago, and he got back in there. Remember?
Still feels like he is on the hot seat.
Well, yeah. I mean, they were going to hire Bill Belichick and all this other stuff, and Vic and all that. So there's always some truth to everything. There was tense between him and Kellen Moore. Now, I will tell you, Kellen Moore got really, not really lucky, but, look, he's calling plays to get a job. It worked out, right? And they got it going when they needed to. Defense was great. But if you're up in here talking about you can't go under center and you don't want any emotion, bro, first of all, it's not just about Philadelphia, right? Eventually, he's going to be on another team, right?
Yeah.
So whether they don't think he's any good anymore or he's valuable enough to trade, this is what's going to come with you. You're trying to tell me you're going to go in the NFL. You're not going to do what everybody else has done in the league. You get what I'm saying?
Good luck with that.
Right. And the coordinators, and they have to get through to him and get him to see the benefit of it. And it's hard in Philly because it's all based on production. So if you're doing something that you're not comfortable with, then they're like, get him out of here. So it's a little bit of factors that aren't directly, correlated to him, but with him and his relationship with not only A.J. Brown, with Smith as well, with your tight end. You better get it together, dude, because right now everybody's on the hot seat.
Toward the end of the piece, there's a line that says one team source says that Hurts is, quote, as open as he's ever been, end quote, to changes.
Right.
Okay. Painting Jalen Hurts in a good light. There's another source that came from close to Jalen Hurts. I don't know what that means specifically, but said that Jalen Hurts was surrounded by too many yes men and needs a coach that can kind of hold his feet to the fire,
right?
Make him a little bit more accountable.
Well,
for
you
that
ain't
sort
getting
of
that now. You got a 33-year-old coordinator. He's gonna run over him like a Mack truck.
33-year-old first time
coordinator.
Too.
And a guy that was a backup at best in the NFL, and you don't. So you don't have Okay, so remember, like Brian Greasy, just when he was calling games, he went into 49ers. He didn't be the he still is the quarterback coach there. I think so, right? Well, he got instant credibility because he was a really good quarterback.
Yeah.
And he'd been to Pro Bowls and he's got the Gracie name, and he won, right?
Yeah.
And this is nothing against John Mannion, but at the end of the day,
you got to earn something, man.
Yeah, and so.
Well, for a guy like Jalen Hurts, like if you say the ego is ascending to Russell Wilson levels, he's going to see that's another chance to say, maybe the team brought you in for one reason, but I'm Jalen Hurts. I'm the starting quarterback. I've taken this team to multiple Super Bowls. Where have you been? What have you done?
Yeah,
I've been here.
Yeah, so and you're the coordinator. He's not the quarterback coach.
Right.
And so it's going to be interesting to see how it goes. And I'm glad that he's open that he's ever be, because he's going to have to be open to some new things because, obviously people are catching up to Philly. And he's going to have to play his best football.
The other part that I think is worth talking about here, especially as it relates to the ego thing, again, toward the end of the piece, Fowler writes, a pattern emerges if you look closely at Hurts' career, a source close to him pointed out. He's at his best when he has something to prove.
That's 100% factual.
There's a little Baker Mayfield to that, maybe. But, Jay, Jalen Hurts has accomplished pretty much everything you can in an NFL career, right? And I know that he's still a hard worker and he'll put his head down and he can get back to work. But if Jalen Hurts has lost that edge, if his ego continues to ascend, in that locker room and he's trying to put himself above the team and not make the changes necessary, then Jalen Hurts probably isn't getting it back. And we've already seen the best of Jalen Hurts, even though there's still so much more that Philly could accomplish, that he could accomplish, because it's that internal drive, that internal chip is off the shoulder. That's hard to manufacture and get back.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. And it's also, I don't think he's lost his edge. I think he's going to, listen, Philly fans will get you harsh reality real quick, because he's established a lot, but he's not so established that he's not untouchable. You know what I'm saying? They'll move on quick. And you got to think in 2027, they're talking about this class that he's going to be all, 32 first-round picks. I'm over-exaggerating, but there's a lot of quarterbacks that are appealing. And the reason is saying that, they still have a young roster. You are a franchise quarterback with a franchise contract. You can be let go, and they could start over again with another rookie quarterback under a rookie contract.
A well-respected franchise, they'll get the benefit of the doubt before you do.
Right. And when you got all this stuff in there, here's one of the biggest really quotes is that, and I'll tell you this, at Nebraska as well, when I played, it's like there's a difference. A source said acknowledge the relationship between being friends with somebody and being teammates, especially when referencing two alphas in a pressurized environment with different approaches to the goal of achieving high-end success. Like, I have guys that I don't like that I played with, but if they needed something, I'd do something. I'd be there because they were a teammate, and that's it. But then he says, you might want to win, but your way might be different than mine. And that's fine, right? Because guys do prepare for a game different. That's the respect factor. But your stars have to be on the same page, and that's not always there. That's the difference. You can have guys that, like, okay, for instance, like the Chicago Bulls. Like Dennis Rodman said, Jordan never hung out with him. But there's two alphas, two different personalities. They both wanted to win, but when it came down to it, they were lock and step.
Yeah.
There's an old saying, you can't hate, I can hate my teammate, but you can't. Meaning, I'm only going to beat the crap out of my teammate. I'm going to have his back. Then we'll figure out after that. That's where they're at. That's why it's so important for them to come together, and there's no better time than this offseason after you didn't win the Super Bowl. Everybody's egos and brand and awareness or whatever explodes after a Super Bowl. Him as well. When you get stamped with the Jordan brand, you're modeling, you're going to stuff, you're going to fashion shows, you it's just natural. Now you got to really turn that off when you get on the football field, because you can be thinking that because you beat Patrick Mahomes now. You just didn't beat
Trent Dilfer.
I was going to say Brad Johnson, right? Trent Dilfer, right? You didn't any other quarterback. You beat the real deal here. And you beat a team that they always had to give the Chiefs the benefit of the doubt. You rectified the loss that you had previously. You know what I'm saying? But for him, I would tell him, your best ball when you was unstoppable is when Shane Steichen was there. And now you see why when he was healthy at times, he wasn't running as much when they wanted him to run. What has happened? Why is that important? When the RPO factor is there with Jalen Hurts, and it really makes his decision making go out of this world, right? It opens up the deep pass.
Yeah.
But when you're just sitting back there, and then you have no play action, you have no motion, you're
heavy
really,
boxes, and Saquon can't get off
right,
either.
and you got some little injuries up front, right? Lane Johnson, everybody. Yeah, you really pigeon, and then everybody else is knowing it, and you got to think, man. The coordinators are like, hey, my hands are tied, and when he's changing plays at will,
that's out of your hands.
If it works out, it's great. It's like a 3 on a fast break, one pass 3. It's great when you make it. When you don't, we've seen that before, so we'll see. Drama is always in the NFL. It's the biggest soap opera out there. We'll take a quick break, come back, talk a little Tiger Woods, but then obviously talk a little NFL, and then also see if people continue to think about what they give up for a Nebraska championship. That was pretty cool. Anyways, Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, we'll be right back.
You're listening to Old School with Jay Foreman and Austin Orman. Download the mobile app and listen wherever you are on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There are so many realtors in Lincoln and Omaha, but don't get overwhelmed by all the no-names, plus all the different companies. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services Real Estate is your go-to option, whether buying or selling residential, luxury, leasing, investment properties, or commercial property, small or large. Ben's team offers decades of experience, unbeatable customer service, and promises to fully protect your interests throughout the entire transaction. Call 402-419-6309 for all your real estate needs. Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group of BHHS Ambassador Real Estate.
When something breaks, you want someone you can trust to fix it right. Empire Repair is now open in Waverly and ready to serve our community with reliable auto repair and maintenance. From routine service to bigger repairs, our team is here to keep you on the road. Stop by Empire Repair in Waverly or call 402-786-2224 to schedule your service today. Empire Repair, proud to serve Waverly.
Bauer Underground has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know that the best workers in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and a pedigree of success. They're offering top-notch benefits, a matching 401k, and a $600 per year clothing allowance. Bauer Underground, a family-friendly company with plenty of room for advancement.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
Imagine if the people who work at your bank were neighbors who could help with a home loan.
Congratulations, you're approved.
Or friends who love to shop local.
Have a good one.
At UBT, who you work with matters just as much as what you're working toward.
Hey, thanks for helping.
That's why your money has more than a banker. It has people. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
Looking for something fun tonight? Axe throwing, local beer, and great vibes are waiting at Arbor Axe House. From casual nights out to celebrations and team events, it all starts here. Reserve a lane today at arbораxe.com. Arbor Axe House at the corner of N Street and Antelope Valley.
Concrete Industries has immediate job openings for precast production laborers and maintenance technicians. Concrete Industries offers great pay, health benefits, 401k, a wellness program, holidays, and paid time off. Apply today to earn a starting pay of $21.50 per hour plus a $1,500 hiring bonus. Concrete Industries is hiring all experience levels and offers on-the-job training. Start your career today as a precast production laborer or maintenance technician. Visit concreteindustries.com.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
Culture and Coffee with Mike Smith and the Bowie Boys is back this Friday, April 3rd, featuring members from UNL's Theta Chi fraternity to discuss their car smash philanthropy. Stop by this Friday between 5 and 8 p.m. as we turn the ticket into a skate park. That's right, a skate park, and also highlight the car smash philanthropy with Theta Chi. Again, that's 5 to 8 p.m. this Friday, April 3rd, for a live broadcast of Culture and Coffee from 5 to 7 p.m. and a Vintage Market Plus skate experience hosted by the Bowie Boys from 7 to 8 p.m. This is a party you won't want to miss, sponsored by Freddy's Frozen Custard and Steak Burgers.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
In communities like ours, local relationships still matter. At Insight Partners, we believe we are better together. That's why insurance agencies across the Midwest have joined Insight Partners to better serve local customers and communities with all their insurance needs. From personal to commercial or specialty insurance, your local Insight Partners team is here to help protect what matters most. Insight Partners, better together. Learn more at myInspartners.com.
Seems like just the other day, I was building my first house. I've seen many changes to our building market in Lincoln. It's been a fun road.
Bob Benish is the founder and president of Aspen Builders, online at aspenbuildersinc.com.
You know, we hear this a lot where I don't want to live in a cookie cutter home. Well, let's come up with some answers on what we're going to build, where we're going to build it, and what it's going to cost. One thing that we started doing early on was we started building neighborhoods. I'm a firm believer in character in your street and in your neighborhood. I like choice. I like variation. I like maybe something a little bit different in a neighborhood that you don't see in every neighborhood. I think it's great to have choices, its uniqueness, and I think that's what gives a neighborhood character. And I think that's what we've done over the years.
Make your dream home a reality and call Aspen Builders at 423-6811. Online at aspenbuildersinc.com. Your home is waiting at Aspen Builders.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Well, we're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman, Old School to New School way, cleaning up a little NFL business. Everybody always asks what it's like about NFL players or athletes. Everybody's the same. I know everybody wants to label them like, oh, you're an athlete. You're just the same. The NFL is, if you could do a Hard Knocks just on 32 teams and a day in the life of all your high-profile players, they're all the same. You'll see them. Some guys like to not do anything. Some guys, like to fish in the off season. Some guys like to travel. Some guys like to play video games. All that stuff. It's no different. We just have immense focus, dedication, athletic ability. That's it. And so what goes on I always say like this, man. It's like when people are like, I guess my brother's a doctor. And I know people, grew up, one of my best friend's dad was a doctor, and I always talk to him. Sometimes, like, when you're in a hospital, it's like your own, like, little world.
Oh, yeah.
Because you're there so much.
Sure.
There's no different than being on a football team or being on Nebraska or being on the basketball team, being on the baseball team. You travel together. You eat together. There's stuff going on. Everybody has crap going on in their life, good and bad or indifferent. And sometimes it just manifests out there. And that's the way it is. A little bit of oil and water sometimes, and it doesn't mix. But that's the NFL news. Catch up on some stuff before we get to Tiger Woods. Bill Self has decided to return for one more season. hopefully he gets healthy. I think that's, battling some health and that type of stressful job. You hadn't got the best out of Kansas. I think I got the best version of him, which I think affected the team. Then he had some other stuff going on. I think he wants to, continue to coach. He, even at the, when they lost, he said he felt good. He just wanted to make sure that, physically he could do it. So obviously I think that as long as he's healthy, I think he's part of, Kansas and he's the best version for Kansas.
Yeah, I'm going to be really interested to see if this decision lasts because, of course, Self has had a couple health scares in the last couple of years. He should still have plenty in the tank, right? He's not that old necessarily, but I wonder if this is a Bill Self decision. I wonder if this is a Jock Vaughn doesn't feel quite ready to take over decision because I think that's the logical in-house move for Kansas is to hand it
when it happened or when it
right. And I think Jock Vaughn's a heck of a coach, right? He's been in the NBA, he's spent plenty of time in college now as well. Or if Kansas thinks that they can reel in a bigger fish after Bill Self leaves. I mean, we just haven't seen this Kansas job come open all that much, right? I mean, think about the Roy Williams transition to getting to Bill Self, who did jump around a little bit early in his career, right? You think about Tulsa, Illinois, and then getting to Kansas. So I think it's good for the sport that Bill Self is back. Curious to see if this decision lasts or if this is Bill Self saying it now because he doesn't want anyone but Jock Vaughn to get the job, and maybe we see a change of heart come July or August.
Bennett or something like
exactly.
that.
Jay Wright to Kyle Neptune. Great guard from Bo Ryan comes to mind as well. I don't know what Kansas's plans are. I think it's probably for the best to keep the all-time legend in place as long as you can have him. Weird year for Kansas.
It's all around.
I mean, it's just been odd. Something's just been off with that program. I mean,
last couple of years though,
and they won the title in 22. Doesn't really feel like it. Like I feel like we just gloss over the fact that Kansas won that national title because of all the drama that happened, since their last title, I think in 08, and then they get that pop-up one in 22, but it just hasn't felt like the same Kansas.
No, but also I think that's right along the lines of college basketball changing.
Yes. Yeah.
NIL and now rev sharing and all this stuff and is really brought a lot of parity and taking Kansas's advantage away. And so now they're trying to work in this new age of college basketball and then obviously have a coach that has a very extensive defensive background, which that's not going to work anymore. You got to put the ball in the hoop. And then also they felt like they did it. I mean, they had, Patterson this year and he just had the injury bug, between halves or whatever. And that really stymied any progress that they were able to make. Now they got on a little run actually when he was out, then he came back and then obviously a tough loss in the tournament. I think that energized them because, outside of him, he's going to go and probably be a top 3 pick in the NBA draft, I'm assuming.
Yeah. Upside if he's not.
Right. Top 5 at worst. And so he's going to have to go and try to sign a really good class and get a portal class and get right back to it. I think, they probably felt like they would have got a little bit more a couple years ago out of Hunter Dickinson. That was just the second year was just,
I love so much that Kansas made that bet on Hunter Dickinson, who completely wrecked that Michigan program in the locker room, put up his numbers. But then I will never forget Bill Self attempting to play KJ Adams at the 3, Hunter Dickinson at the 4, and Flory Badunga at the 5 in the same lineup. He started those 3 players. Like, you look at Michigan, they started 3 bigs, but Yaxel Lendebrick at least has some skill. Adai Mara can at least pass a little bit. Morris Johnson Jr. showed more. But you ran off that Zuby Ejiofor guy because of Hunter Dickinson. Yeah.
And he said the thing about if you go back and read all the recruiting, he sold himself to Kansas. He kind of fleeced them twice.
Oh, yeah.
And obviously he never really did anything at the next level, but that can stymie you back because that was like his big, get there. And you really change the path of your program in the short term. You learn from it, you get Patterson, and then, this year with him has just kind of been up and down. So, I'm going to take him at his statement. He said he's, he had renewed clarity and ongoing support from our administration. That means there's going to be more money. So they got to go out and get players. And so maybe that's something like
players, not bargain bin shop.
Right.
You got to keep Badunga from the NBA draft, I think. And then they just had a bunch of okay,
guy,
whatever.
right? And so that's where, kind of like what I talked about with Hubert Davis. You'd think that, Duke's right down the road, but Duke's bank account or what they're putting towards basketball is significantly different. But it's a rivalry. The rivalry doesn't just start and stop on the court.
Mm-hmm.
It's in everything.
Yeah,
and that's where Kansas has to catch back up, and that's why he's back now. If he does do the thing late in July and Jock Vaughn is there, so be it. I think he does one more year, and I think it's handed off to Jock Vaughn if they don't go get, somebody else. So,
yeah. The other news that I saw on ESPN that popped up as I was finding that story, Tom Izzo seriously considered taking the Suns job.
Yeah.
A lot of Michigan State connections there.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ishbia, they hire Ott, who was with Michigan State.
And that's probably where the connect,
Can you imagine Tom Izzo that age taking an NBA job, though?
Well, it's beautiful weather down there.
It is.
Yeah.
Man.
He still has a ton of energy. I don't know if the timing's right. I think it would have been a couple year type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if he would have, I think it was 2 years ago when Michigan State, I think they played out in Syracuse in the tournament. And then I think they got to the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
Then they lost.
Mm-hmm.
But they weren't supposed to get to the Sweet 16. I think they upset somebody to get the Sweet 16.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, he said
that's when they lost to Duke in that round.
That was in the Sweet 16.
I think so, yeah.
But they made the Sweet 16 by beating somebody, because I remember they played in Syracuse.
Yeah.
And I remember him saying, he's like, I'm energized. I can't wait to get back to work next year. If that doesn't happen, and he had like a gap year, he might have do it for a couple of years because he's, the administration and all that stuff they had going on.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I can't imagine him doing it. I think he's coached enough pro players that he would turn the faucet down, obviously, when you're dealing with grown men and stuff. And I think he would do well because his basketball mind is so good. I just think the time is probably something he.
Well, he's 71. Would have been coaching this year in the NBA at 71.
He could probably get to 74.
Probably.
Yeah.
Different travel, different schedule, but probably. But it just feels like a weird jump for a guy to make at the end of his career.
Well,
that's where it would make more sense in my head for like a Hurley to do that. Or, Mark Pope, if it doesn't work out, would he go be an NBA assistant?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Other than Tom Izzo, who is synonymous with Michigan State basketball.
Hey. Yeah, I know. There's one thing that's apparent. Dan Hurley is a YN.
Man.
Hey, my man is full-fledged out of control. He went up there. I know exactly what he was thinking. I knew he was off the chain the first time in the Big East tournament when they hit that last second shot. He got hyped with his player, and then he went right back into the
cold-blooded, just handshake line. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Great job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Good.
He's a little bit off.
He's certified.
Yeah, he's certified. But and Tom Izzo, I wonder if it's something that, and I know as he was on a show, I just wonder if it's something always like, what if? You know what I mean? And at this point, he's, I wouldn't say stuck, but I don't think if the owner wasn't a Michigan State alum, that it would ever be an option at Phoenix.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because he had also talked with Atlanta and Cleveland in the past, not last offseason.
He fits Cleveland more than Atlanta.
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt.
Yeah. Probably doesn't want to have lemon pepper. What the NBA tried to have Magic City Monday. You imagine my Tom Izzo? Hey, guys, we got to put these uniforms. Little Tom Izzo. Hey, you guys got your Magic City Monday uniforms? Yeah,
Coach.
Yeah. Cleveland fits him a little bit better. But what fits us, we're going to a break, come back. Talk a little Tiger Woods, what's next for him. He might be going overseas to get treatment because of notoriety. Can he make a comeback more off the field and maybe take it in like a Gary Woodland and obviously be a beacon of positivity? Jay Foreman, Austin Norman. We'll be right back.
Watch Old School live on Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball. All right, just swing right through it. Yeah, good job. Way to go. Hey, run it out. Okay.
Great road trips start with great service. Graham Tire, your tire store next door, with 5 convenient Lincoln locations, getting you to the places that matter most.
Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more.
Lincoln's go-to for fun isn't new. It's a place that's been a staple of the city for years and is only getting better. Matson's Bowling and Billiards always has open bowling available with no long lines, unlike other centers. They have live music almost every weekend and great food at EJ's Bar and Lounge, with seating for 150 people. They have popular meals like the EJ Burger, pizza for the whole family, and famous EJ's Wings. Contact Sarah to book a party for friends, coworkers, or family at Matson's Bowling and Billiards, just south of 48th and Holdridge.
If you're seeking a career with a growing company, Dana Trucking and Excavating is hiring and looking for additions to their team. Dana Trucking has a strong team culture, competitive pay, 401ks, and benefits like health, dental, and vision. Drivers are guaranteed 40 hours per week, even in the winter months, and are home every night. Start your career today at Dana Trucking and Excavating. Apply today at GainaTrucking.com.
This is Grant Wister. I spent a lot of years trusting teammates to do their job so I could do mine. That's the same thing I wanted to build with Champ Roofing, a group you can just trust to handle it. Roof damage, siding, gutters, inspections, and repairs, we cover it all. Headquartered in Lincoln, but serving the whole state. Champ Roofing is your choice for premium roofing, siding, and gutters. Visit champ-roofing.com or call 402-858-7449.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: showers likely this afternoon, otherwise cloudy and breezy, the high around 51. Tonight, showers likely, the low around 44. And tomorrow, showers likely in the morning, otherwise mainly cloudy and breezy, the high near 62. I'm meteorologist Kyle Flecker for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Imagine if the people who work at your bank were neighbors who could help with a home loan.
Congratulations, you're approved.
Or friends who love to shop local.
Have a good one.
At UBT, who you work with matters just as much as what you're working toward.
Hey, thanks for helping.
That's why your money has more than a banker. It has people. Union Bank and Trust. Member FDIC.
MMA is back this Saturday with VFL 6 spring session at the complex. Lincoln's best amateur and professional MMA fighters will display their best performances, headlined by a welterweight bout between Trayson Havel and Ezra Dozier. Get your tickets at thecomplexlincoln.com, where you can also get pay-per-view streaming. Enjoy the atmosphere and festivities, which are second to none. Doors open at 6 p.m. and first bout is at 7 p.m. this Saturday, April 4th for VFL 6 at the complex at 1555 Yolanda Avenue.
Now's the time to schedule your air conditioner service check with Bryant. Make sure it's ready to keep you cool and comfortable when you really need it. Call Bryant Air Conditioning and Heating, 467-1111.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
Pre-order your Hog Wild slow smoked Easter ham today. Hog Wild selects the highest quality whole ham and slow smokes them until they're tender and delicious. Our 100% boneless ham is approximately 4 pounds and $50. Pre-order online at GoHogWild.com. Quantities are limited. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Keep managing your LES account the easy way, right from home. Pay your bill, check your energy use, or go paperless anytime at LES.com. Simple tools for your busy day.
Nutrition Authority invites you to check out the top-selling Epic Effects. Epic Effects is designed to help blast body fat, curb cravings, and provide smooth energy so you can cruise through the day. Home of free samples and better-than-internet pricing, Epic Effects can only be found in Nutrition Authority. For store info, visit mynutritionauthority.com.
Back to Old School with Foreman and Orman on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
What up, we're back. Jay Foreman, Austin Orman. Last segment before we turn it over to Bill Mitchell in the Lighthouse. LighthouseLincoln.org. They do some great things. Spread light, positivity. Obviously, for Tiger Woods, it has not been a positive week.
No,
for him. Was potentially going to play the Masters. I think he signed up for the Senior Open, and just like that, I think Monday was the deadline to sign up for it. That was in the morning. By afternoon, the reports that came out that he was in another car accident, and obviously was charged with a DUI. Everybody thinks it was, thinking you were drinking. He wasn't under the influence of alcohol. They don't know if he was under the influence of, I guess,
hydrocodone,
opioid, or I don't know if you call that a narcotic. But obviously, he put out a statement yesterday that he's going to go and obviously, take care of it, look into, whatever the issues are when he takes those or whatever. Because obviously, I think this is the second one that's related to that, right?
Yeah.
I think the one at 6 a.m, out in California, unless he had taken it too late and woke up on it, then kind of rushing out of there. They said that his rate of speed was like close to 60, 70 miles an hour in that parking lot. And then,
in a parking lot.
Yeah, and he almost died. And and there wasn't any details of that. That kind of got pushed underneath there. Then he had another one, I think, as well. So I think right now he's probably trying to do some self-reflection. He's got 2 kids that are, of age. So he's probably got to make sure that he's got to be the best person for them first and foremost, right? Golf and everything else is second. I think it's a good opportunity for him to maybe get out of the realm of trying to be. First of all, you can't be so guarded. The days of being perfect and guarded for him are over.
Mm-hmm.
Over. When you're an iconic figure, you just can't be. It's just bad timing. So bad timing for him. When Michael Jordan's running around gambling and doing all that stuff, there wasn't any social media. There's social media now with you, and so you got to really, try to be, someone that could get out in the forefront. You don't have to tell all your business, but your business is out there, and probably, be a positive light into some of the, I guess, I wouldn't even say, I guess the addictions or ramifications if you don't take them the right way.
Yeah.
I can tell you, I deal with pain all the time. I won't take those. I've taken them before. I don't like how I feel on them. There's no way in the world I would think about even riding a scooter or a golf cart or anything like that while doing that. And so, hopefully he learned his lesson. He's very lucky that he's alive, and let alone it wasn't hurting anybody else. So I think at this point right now, he's got to look, man, you're kind of teeter-totter on the line of, luck running out. And so make sure to get it under control. Still barely 50 years old or just 50 years old. You got a long life to live. You got plenty of golf to play. That's all secondary. You got to take care of your family first.
Is the plenty of golf to play part that it can't be the focus right now?
No, you got to.
And I think what golf can look like for Tiger is a few years off, right? Lay low, right? Yeah. Maybe once every 18 months, check in. Hey, I'm doing better.
Yeah.
Hey, this is the progress I've made. And then, I don't know, let's hear from you again in 2030.
Yeah.
Or whatever, when maybe he's headlining TGL.
Yeah.
For ESPN or something. But if you want to do the senior tour, great. Go do your thing, Tiger. Right. But I don't think that's a guy that can continue to push the pedal to the metal to try to make a comeback in, PGA Tour golf.
I mean,
his legacy should already be secure there.
Yeah, he's already there. There's no doubt about that. You can't take that away from him. I think you could probably still play the majors and play some events that maybe help grow the tour. Say you're at a
right.
When they used to play down in Greensboro and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You can do that as kind of like a, obviously feel good, but then also, you probably play better in those type of courses.
Mm-hmm.
Playing a full schedule is out. And the senior tour, the senior tour is nothing. It's not to be trifled with.
Yeah, no.
And so, go out to senior tour where you can ride a cart and do all that. You're kind of more of an ambassador, but he's still going to be very competitive. You can definitely piece that together. But you're 100% right. Golf is secondary. And look, man, he's got to go and this is, I think this situation versus when he had the situation, before with, his activities at, let's say, at night or whatever. Felt like that was kind of forced to go do that. And if you read between the lines, it was kind of like he was trying to do that to, stay with his now ex-wife. This is something he has to do.
Yeah.
So hopefully he knows he has to do it, and actually probably will help him be better ambassador in golf whenever that will be.
Right. And who knows again what the future holds for Tiger, but I do wonder how concerned he is about his legacy, because in golf it should be cement in terms of what he did on the golf course, to come back to win the Masters and everything. But I think that if he's able to make a comeback in his personal life, that'll give him some brownie points in the GOAT discussion.
And he's done a lot of great stuff with his foundation and stuff, and he builds courses. He's given a lot of money, anonymously to charity. So his legacy is there. This is going to be actually something that it could really springboard him to even higher.
Yeah.
So anyways, that's our show. Jay Foreman, Austin Norman will be back tomorrow, Thirsty Thursday. Old School. We'll holler at you.
Keep managing your LES account the easy way, right from home. Pay your bill, check your energy use, or go paperless anytime at les.com. Simple tools for your busy day.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Graham Tire presents life's greatest adventures.
Okay, buddy, here we go. Just keep your eye on the ball.